for Banca. In our case, you're going to have USA. We're fully leaning into sort of the meme of America. This is the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. We just entered it like a few days ago. Okay, like this is the year of the United States of America, the way I see it. And so we want to build products, starting with this launchpad here. We want to build products that are going to be useful for folks to do things on chain. And so we had a semi-curated launchpad previously. We had several good things come out of there. Everything went to multi-millions. Valor hit $17 million. So it was good. We're trying to make sure the teams are okay. We had some hiccups. I'm not gonna lie. We had some hiccups, and we figured out what the problems were and how we can fix those going into the future. We do have the semi-curated thing that's going to continue, but we have our permissionless launches, which will be soon. And the good thing about the permissionless launches is now we'll be able to go head to head with some of the bigger boys, but we have differences in the way we approach things that I think are better. And just from like a thesis, if people go to my profile, they search like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, these words, you'll see my post from like July, I think it was, or maybe August. And I laid out this big, long bunch of theses about what I think is wrong in the system and how I think we can fix it. And one of those was having only one ticker of the same name. Now I put that public. I had a meeting with Binance, frankly, out in Hong Kong. And then a few weeks later, we have 4Million had only one ticker. So I realized, okay, I should actually be a little quieter about the things that we're innovating on, because otherwise people are gonna take them. But that's like one example. Another one is when you do a permissionless launch on America.fund here soon, it's actually going to cost you a little bit of money. So you can't just go there and press the button and buy the initial tokens on the launch. You have to pay $200 worth of AOL token to do it. And this is going to mean we probably have significantly fewer launches, almost certainly. But those that do it are going to be more serious. And so I want to get rid of a situation where you have bots and scumbags who come out there and just make these things, and people, they die before they get to 30K so that the dev can make $265 or whatever, that kind of thing. And so we have loads of these sorts of things that are being built into America.fund to protect the users and to build it around the AOL folks.
So this is interesting. You almost have this $200 payable in AOL as a filter, right? Anyone that's not serious or half serious, unlikely is going to spend that kind of money to launch a token. And you think that's a good way to filter out some of the bad actors, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's that and a few other things, but I think that one's going to be the one that irritates people the most in terms of like if they're bad guys. And so I figure, if they don't have good intentions, I'd rather they not use our platform at all. Like it's better, it's not good for us. I want us to be the place where people go, we're representing, in the way I view it, we're representing the best of the best versions here of USD1, right? And so I don't want you to come there and have a bad experience. I want you to come there and have a good experience. I want most of the people to come there and have a chance at winning, not have a 0.04% chance of winning, which is what it is right now in Punk, right? You have literally almost no chance of winning in a bid. And so the way we can do that, I think, is to make sure that we have good people launching, and one way of doing that permissionlessly is to have friction in the front of it.
Okay, this is interesting. So, by doing this, people might even think, well, this is just a way for America.fund to make an extra $200 on each launch. But you actually give a lot, probably more actually, in terms of if just like Pump Fund has so many launches that get a lot of volume, but 99% of them die, a big percent of them are bad actors. You might actually make more money if you didn't have this $200 paywall, if you will, rather than having this $200 paywall. Do you guys how'd that conversation look when you were considering adding this permissionless aspect and making it cost a little bit of money? Because do you think you're losing out on some volume? You said currently you have, I think, maybe I got it wrong, $2 million you guys have earned from Meteor volume so far. Seems to be the current way you're making most of your money. Do you expect this $200 to be a big revenue generator for you rather than just liquidity pools? Or I'd love to hear your thoughts more on that. Sorry, that was long-winded.
Yes. So there's 3 parts there. So first off, we made about 750K so far in LP fees, and we put almost all of it, I would say like 90+% of it, back into the ecosystem. So buying the tokens that launched on us or buying the AOL token. What we're going to do in the future as that continues is people who have AOL token, they can stake it on a VE curve, by the way, which I haven't talked about publicly, but they can stake their AOL on a VE curve, and they will get a share of that LP revenue. And so if they had been staked during the past 4 months, of course it didn't exist, but had it existed, there would be quite a good bit of money going back into them. We think the revenue is going to increase because of permissionless stuff, of course, but I mean, who's to say? But those who actually are convicted and get in there, I think they're going to make money. Now, could we make more money doing a pump fund version of things than, excuse me, than the way we're doing it? Probably. I mean, I don't know the numbers on Walmart versus Chanel, but probably Walmart does a whole lot more volume and maybe makes a lot more money profit than Chanel does. Fair enough. But I don't want to run Walmart. That's not the company I want to run. That's not, that's not the audience that I want to cater to. I want to cater to a different audience that's a little bit more serious, that it still likes to have fun, still wants to gamble, still wants to play the game, but is a little more serious than someone who's just, who's basically a bunch of trash that's elsewhere.
Yeah, there's skin in the game for deployers. So love that. So it's just like, okay, talk about the verticals you want to see launch, the types of products and projects. Are these meme coins? Do you want to see, we've made a name for ourselves covering ICM and the early Believe launch pads. Who's a token deployer on AOL?
Yeah, so let me tell you a couple that have already happened, and then I think it'll give you an idea of what's going on. So we have a token called Dream. It's based on Dream Job, which is a cartoon. And you say, okay, what is that? Why does that matter? Why do you have a cartoon there? Well, the artist behind it is actually an Adult Swim artist. Like he's a legitimate artist. You can see his stuff right now, like on, I believe, on the front page of Adult Swim for his other cartoon. He's making a new series, and we thought to ourselves, how interesting would it be for people to be able to get in early on something like that? Maybe this is the next Rick and Morty, and then you have the official one at essentially zero market cap associated with that token. So something like that is interesting to us. We had Valor, which was just a meme, a straight meme. We have Burger. It's pretty much a meme. That's about all it is. We had America the Game, which unfortunately didn't pan out. The dev didn't pan out on that, but that was an actual video game that was being made. That fellow there. And so we have Patriot. Patriot is made specifically for donating to veterans, and so it's raised $50,000 so far in fees that are being donated to veterans in America. And so it really runs the gamut. We have 300 or 400 projects that have applied to do the curated launches. We only launched a few of them, and most of them we told, hey, just go over to the permissionless one soon. And if you end up doing well, if you break out a little bit, if you show, then we're going to support you at that point. But do it yourself basically is what we're doing. So really, it could be memes, man. It can be regular businesses. We had a golf related. I had a chat with like a golf related a guy whose friend is running a golf related software technology business that wants to do something. So you might think along the ICM side of things. Like it's really kind of runs the gamut.
We saw Coinbase got a lot of flack from Thread Guy for kind of fumbling the creator capital markets meme around Nick Shirley or the token. What do you think your approach might be different than something like what Jesse is trying to do with CCM and the base app?
Yeah. So on the CCM side, I have views that probably not everyone agrees with. I think it's really hard for those things to work without a good bit of attention being put into them and with a good bit of handholding of the creators themselves. Just because you're good at making YouTube videos or you're good at you're good at building an IG following or whatever the case might be, doesn't mean you have any clue about how tokenomics works. Doesn't mean you have any clue how to communicate with users in mass in other ways. These things don't really stand out. And so I think that where they F up, in my opinion, is, and it's only my opinion because I don't know, I'm not in the room with Jesse whenever they have these conversations, but I don't think they're managing this for them enough. And I think that's what is required. So in our case, if we actually do have this one, I can't say what it is, but it's a very politically oriented movement. It's a very big one. It's been around for a couple of years. They're extremely popular. Coinbase actually is participating in this thing as well. They are coming to us to do a launch, and they have experts on their team. They know how to do things. They know how to get on TV. They know how to do all this kind of stuff. But we are trying really hard to handhold that whole process so that when they get out there, they put their name out there, which they've spent years and years building up. It's not going to screw them, right? It's going to be additive, not harmful.
Interesting. Can we touch a bit on the partnerships? I see you have a partnership with Radar. We can even see Kai brought that up. Encrypt your AOL with Radar.fun. What does that partnership look like? Can you maybe go into why you chose Radar? We've had them on the show. They're friends of the show. We like what they're doing. Maybe give us a quick little talking piece on that.
Yeah, so I got to be honest, we don't have an official partnership with Radar yet. We've been talking to them and they have integrated our work. I think there's a good chance we're going to have a partnership with these guys. I like how they think. They were very proactive in the way that we were discussing things. I started in crypto in late 2012, right? So it's been a long time. I came in for cypherpunk reasons, and I like that kind of crap. Like that's just, I'm into that. Like I don't think you should be tracked all the time. Like that's not, I don't really love that, And so whenever Radar came along, and actually someone left a comment, they're like, hey dude, I'm an investor in AOL, but I want you to see this thing Radar because I think they might work. I'm like, okay, well maybe they'll hit us up and then we'll talk. 6 seconds later, Radar hits us up, and I'm like, okay, these guys are like on it. They're really on it. They're actually really hungry. I looked into their tech, I saw what they're doing, and I like the idea. They integrated us without us even asking them to. We're gonna have some chats and see what a partnership looks like. In terms of other partnerships, support this kind of stuff, just to kind of go into a little bit of it. Like I said, we started off as the special and curated projects arm of the Bonk X World Liberty Buy X Radium thing. We want to do a lot more stuff than that, and so now we just a few weeks ago, one of my co-founders, Vesper, spoke at Met Dobby. She did a keynote there and announced that we've swithed to Meteora from Radium. And so
yes, okay, thank you, because we saw America.fun, and I'm like, what? Like, what is this? And then I was gonna ask about the Meteora tie-in. So please, yes.
Yeah, so we have a very, very close strategic collaboration with Meteora. We spent months working on this, and we have a deal together. There's a lot of support there. They're aware of what our roadmap looks like, and they're very, very supportive in helping us to get to that roadmap. It's expansive. It's big. I'm not gonna lie. Like in my past, in my Web 2 past, I've built and sold very large Web 2 tech companies, and so I'm not trying to build something little here. I want to build something big that actually matters, and they are in line with that. They're building something big, obviously. And so we have the Meteora partnership now, which is fantastic. Team is great. They're as helpful as you can be. I don't think I've ever worked with a group more helpful than them. We've gotten support in the sense of like retweets and comments and whatnot from Tali, from Solana. Solana Foundation sponsored a talk we did at Solana headquarters just about 4 weeks ago. We've gotten, just kind of, if you name it, we've gotten support from them from that side. What we haven't done yet is start to market. right? We haven't done that because we've been waiting on our V2 to come out. We've been working on the V2, getting the staking stuff done, getting it audited, getting all this kind of stuff finished so that we can actually go out to the masses and start to push and let people know what we're doing. Start talking about our roadmap, start talking about the next step of what America.fund is doing. And so now that we're there, we're single digit days away from that launch. We figure, hey, it's worth chatting with folks like you guys.
So this means going forward, all your USD1 pairs will be on Meteora rather than Radium pools, like
right.
they were in the past. Okay.
That's right.
How does Meteora stack up in terms of optionality? Obviously, we have a friend of the show, Kitty, in here, who's part of the Meteora team, lead ICM run guy there. Give him some love, or lead ICM guy there. Give him some love. But that being said, how does Meteora stack up to something like Radium in terms of communication, in terms of optionality, in terms of the tech stack? Maybe give us some ideas.
Sure. So on the comp side, I'm gonna do my best to be polite, but it's like it's night and day, honestly. It's really night and day. And I have no shade to throw with Radium dudes. I mean, they built great tech. I've used their stuff a number of times in the past. It's good stuff. They've been helpful in various different ways whenever we were working together in the early days. But on the comm side, it really is night and day. Like we send a message literally at night or day into our group chat with Meteora, and minutes later someone's like, okay, yeah, we're on it. Yeah, we have a friend here. Yeah, we can connect you here. Yeah, let's help you out here. It's just so nice to be in an experience like that. And that's one of the big reasons we chose to switch over. It was like we can go, we can get partners, we can raise money, we can do this kind of things pretty easily at this point because we'd already made hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And I have a decent background, but it's like we only want to work with people who are actually like really good folks who are good to us too, that are going to be there supporting us all the way through. And they've really, we basically took a leap of faith in some ways on them, but they've definitely fulfilled their side of it so far, which has been excellent. On the tech side, we would not have launched all of our prior stuff on Radium had it not been for the collaboration, the World Liberty Pi collab, kind of thing. Not because Radium tech sucks. Like I'm not trying to say that, because actually it's very good, but it's just, it doesn't do some of the flexible things that we need to be done. And I have a lot of kind of unusual thoughts about how sniping should be combated against, how there's a lot of different things like this. And I need to work with a team that's willing to flex with us and willing to build new stuff with us and willing to try some things out with us, take some risks. And the reception wasn't quite as well received on the other side previously. And so on that side, definitely we're making some headway. And then just on a personal basis, like I was a hyper aggressive Orca user back in the day, like doing loads and loads of LP on Orca, especially whenever Bonk first came out, because I bought $1 zillion of Bonk. And then switched over to Radium for a long time. And then I found Meteora because a friend of mine told me about it. And then I LP the piss out of stuff on Meteora for forever now. And just because it's just a good user experience.
I love it. I want to talk a bit about great tech. Obviously, Meteora supports the show, so we couldn't be more thankful for them. But I actually do want to talk a bit about roadmap and maybe competition. Like, it seems very obvious that we have the push for USD1 from World Liberty Financial, which we know is heavily influenced by the Trump family. And it's just like there's a lot of trust and a lot of things that kind of come from that relationship. Maybe talk a little bit about competitors. Who else is doing USD1 coins? Are there any launch pads making the USD1 push? You guys are doing it on Solana, on Meteora, but maybe just give us an overview of that.
As of right now, we are the first and only one that is fully focused on USD1. There's no one else that I'm aware of, on Solana anyway, that is fully focused on USD1. Some people build it as a part of their business, right? So they have like a section that is for USD1. Bonk would be a good example of this. And by the way, I'm friends with Bonk. Nam and I are good buddies for a long time. I'm a huge holder of Bonk tokens. I'm not throwing a single ounce of shade at those guys. But their core business is not building USD1 stuff necessarily, right? Their core building business is to enhance Bonk, which is totally fair and totally reasonable. It's a Solana thing. Ours from the ground up and from day zero, from before we started building it all, was how do we expand the USD1 ecosystem? This is July, I'm talking about this, long before this meta came. How do we expand the USD1 ecosystem? How do we set it up to where it's gonna work out? And as of right now, there's no one else out there doing the same thing, and probably because they're not thinking about it. Now maybe they are. Now that it's USD1 meta, people are probably thinking, oh shoot, let's go spin up a USD1 launchpad, let's go focus on blah, blah, blah. But they're behind by 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, clearly USD1 is going to persist. They've made a ton of money from it. It's already, I think, if you look on CoinMarketCap, USD1's got to be up there as one of the top 100 tokens for sure. Maybe top 50, maybe top 25. I'm not exactly sure on that. But give me an idea on the team that you guys have here at AOL. Who does what? Who do you have? You obviously have relationships with the World Liberty Financial team. You have relationships, great relationships with finance. You said you've had friends at Bonk. Maybe give us an idea of the team and how you guys are positioned to execute on this, because it's a big undertaking. Yeah,
it is a huge undertaking. So just starting off with myself, I've been building tech companies since starting in Silicon Valley in the 2009 arena. I've built a number of tech companies. I've sold a couple of them. They've all been, they've not all been good, but the ones that have been good have been good. The ones that suck, of course, they've died. But there have been a few that are really solid. I have a lot of experience building big companies or biggish companies, and I have a lot of experience in crypto. I care a lot about the users, and I'm not like trying to make my first buck, right? And I think for me, that's important. Like when I'm investing in a company, when I look at who the founders are and what their motives are, what I'm always fearful of, especially in crypto, is okay, when this guy makes his first $1 million, is he going to abandon the project? Is he going to leave? Like, are they going to be done now? Can they go buy the car? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like that stuff bugs me a lot, and it really scares me. And it happens all the time. You see someone does a raise, and then they get their earn out, and then, oh, I'm deciding to resign from my position now, blah blah blah, and then everything dies. And so on our side, we have pretty much a team that is situated in a way that's not really a concern, and that was important to me to have. On our team, we have myself, we have Vesper. Vesper is not a known entity, not Vesper, by the way, from Meteora, but a different Vesper. She's not a known entity. The safe, it ends with an E, obviously, that means equity, and the SAF ends with a T, it means tokens. And they're separate and apart typically, because one of them represents something that's sort of public facing, it's like the stock, so to speak, but it's not per se the ownership of the equity in the company. This is something that came out from my memory from the XRP stuff back in 2016, 2017. They got sued at one point because Brad Garlinghouse was going to places and saying, hey, look, Ripple's doing a deal with this company, Ripple's doing a deal with that company, and everyone's like, but that means nothing to XRP because XRP does not benefit from Ripple, the company, doing deals with these people, right? So it was kind of misleading. And so people said, okay, well then we should bifurcate, and we should say one thing is one thing, one thing is the other. Now, is that useful for consumers? It can be, but I think that you just need to be transparent about what exactly you're getting. So if you want equity in a business, what does that mean? Like, why do you want equity in a business? I think that's a good question to ask someone. A lot of people say they want it, but not a lot of people have a reason why. Like what generally people want to have is positive cash flow of some kind, whether it's now, later, or both, right? And so if equity in the business is what you have, but you don't have revenue shares, you don't have some way of actually extracting value from it, then having equity is completely useless because you only make money if they sell the business in that case. And a lot of companies, most companies don't get sold, even if they're extraordinarily profitable, they never get sold. And so you sit there, you're holding something quote unquote worth $1 million, but you can't do anything with it. And so I think that this is something that whenever people bug about, look, I want to own the company, I want to do this and that, I think it's totally okay. And I think that's like a perfectly rational thing to want to have, just in general. Of course, who doesn't want to own something? But you need to think, what are your actual goals here? Like, would you trade that for the cash flows? And if not, maybe it makes more sense to own an LP share or own tokens that themselves get a revenue share. And so in our case with AOL token, we're trying to take that and basically say, look, if you stake your AOL, we are going to give back a load of our money to you, like, because you're not an owner of the company per se, but you're the ones getting the upside of the company's success. And from my point of view, that's more likely to get people motivated to help promote and help get other people excited about our product. The fact that they are making money when we do well.
Last question on this: would you encourage, like projects that launch to kind of have a similar setup that AOL has, or like how are you thinking about that for them? Or are you advising them on any of that?
Yeah, so there's actually some tech on the side that we're trying to work on. Meteora has a thing called Alpha Vault. And basically it's, excuse me, this is something I haven't talked about publicly on our side before, but I'll give you a little bit of roadmap here for part of it. But Alpha Vault is basically people can come in and put money into a project. It's almost like an ICO or an IPO kind of a situation where you are like an initial cake offering, like what Cake used to, I don't know if they still do it, what they used to do. And you get an allocation and you say, look, I'm going to deposit, $4,000 and you're going to get the same price as everybody else. And so it's really just a raise at that point. It's a normal raise. And the companies then can say, look, what you're getting is you're getting tokens, or what you're getting is you're getting tokens plus equity, or you're getting access to the CEO's guest house, whatever it is you're getting. They can design that, and we would suggest what they do based upon that. So I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I told you I had a conversation with like a guy whose friend is doing a golf related, like they basically have like deals with a zillion golf courses, and they do a bunch of stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I'm thinking through my head, well, if they do a launch, why wouldn't the situation be like, look, if you own a certain number of these tokens, you get access once a year to any one of our portfolio golf courses, right? If you're like a big golf fan. So not only do you get the revenue share, you get the, potentially the equity or whatever the case might be, but you get other perks as well. The thing with Dream, the cartoon I was talking about earlier, one of the tokens that launched on us, I've been talking to the artist there and I said, hey man, what do you think about if someone, of course they can't own your IP, but you're not going to do that. That's, artists never really do that. And they can't anyway, because then they won't get signed by Netflix or whoever. But what about if someone had 1% of your supply or a quarter of your percent of your supply and they burned it? Would you throw their PFP in one of your shows? Like just appear on like a picture in the background? Yeah, probably so, right? Like these are the kind of ideas that I think that you have to get a little bit outside the box and think about how to construct it for a specific team. But it's something that I think is actually really fun, and hopefully other companies take seriously so they can have more success.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from the questions about holder protections. You're in a space where you're competing with Pump, Bonk, Soar, MetaDAO, and we've seen a push, right? A lot of volumes kind of dried up from Pump and then maybe gone to MetaDAO or other platforms, push towards ownership and holder protection. When you have a permissionless launchpad, it seems like the $200 kind of filter you have here is going to help filter out some of the bad actors. But how do you, maybe you can't say the word guarantee, but essentially how do you guarantee some protections to holders where someone's not just going to come on here and rug on the permissionless side as soon as they launch a token after extracting some fees?
Yeah, for sure. So first off, we can't guarantee it, right? There's no way of guaranteeing it. But what we can do is so we're going to have visuals, not on this initial one here in a few days, but we're working toward just having visuals that'll tell you, was it bundled? How was it done? What do those wallets look like? Because we can detect that crap. It's not terribly difficult to do. What do they look like? And people can start to track that kind of thing. Almost like you might see on some of the other software like Axiom or something like that, right? And so you say, oh, this is 69% bundle and this whatever. The thing is, I don't think that stuff's always bad to bundle, for example, but I think that users need to they do have the right to know what the situation is. And so that's one thing. Two is on the tech side, we have some. I've told our dev team and we'll be hopefully working with Meteora on some of the ideas I have around how to protect this. And one of those is graduated release of tokens to the actual developers themselves. And so in the case that you do a launch, you don't actually get access to all of the tokens that you quote unquote buy in the beginning until or unless you've stayed around for a certain amount of time and you hit certain points in your prices. And so basically you have an incentive as a dev, if you actually want to get your pieces, to keep on going, keep on building, getting there. And then once you hit $1 million, bada bing, now you get another percentage you can unlock. Once you get $2 million, another percentage unlocks. And so you have there in your case, the incentive to keep on going, which helps folks have a chance of winning.
Yeah, we've seen this model implemented actually. MetaDAO uses something similar where they have gradual unlocks at 2x ICO, 4x ICO, 8x, 12, 15, 34, and so on and so forth. And so, I think it is some level of incentive to keep these devs going, of course, because look at that device. So it's interesting to hear how you guys are looking at it. I don't know. This is like a forever evolving sphere that we're in right now about what token holders should have, if buybacks are better, if equity is better, if, you get access to a membership to private golf courses, right? It's all up in the air. And I think the answer is maybe a little more nuanced where it's like, it's going to depend on what you're doing, what the project is, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just an interesting conversation. It's one we have to have, especially with a launch pad here. So maybe
we have a question from X. Happy Camper asks, what's the plan on ticker repetition?
Oh yeah, good question.
Yeah. So the ticker, you mean in terms of like unique tickers, right?
You can't do two of the same, right?
I don't know what he's meaning. Just he mentions repetition. So I was hoping you
yeah, probably it means unique tickers. Yeah, this is actually what I was talking about earlier. So we had I hadn't seen it anywhere, and so in one of those part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 posts that I made on my Twitter, I said one thing we're gonna do is we're gonna have the one ticker policy. So you basically you can get Venezuela, right? That's okay. You can have money sign Venezuela, but if you don't graduate within a certain period of time, 6 hours in our case, you lose that official ticker. It goes back into the space.
This is kind of like Hyperliquid, where it's like you bid on tickers, so it's kind of like domain names essentially. So one project can't have two projects can't have the same tickers.
That's right. There's only going to be one, and so you might have 38 different ones out there in the world. But the way you know if it's the real one is you go to our website, you paste into CA, and does it come up or does it not? Like, does it end in USA first off? And people can fake that, so that's not good enough. But if you copy it into our website, is that the right one? Yeah, that's the right one. That's the official one. That's the real one.
It's interesting. This is going to help, I would imagine, with vamping. We know vamping was a big thing on Pump, where you would have Elon Musk make a tweet and 20 people would go and launch the same token with the same name, and you would just basically have to gamble and throw your hope that the one that you bought graduates and goes crazy. In this case, you only have one. Like, it's the person that gets it first, and I think it's a good mechanism.
Yes. It's really the idea. So the idea here, again, it's not going to be for everybody. Like, because you're going to have people out there who do other things. But I'm hoping if we can basically just get people to try this out, if we can get like a month of people just testing it here and there, and the experience is meaningfully better, even 15% better than what they get elsewhere, it's going to start to be where users encourage devs to go. And so to your question earlier, how do you get devs? I'm hoping we kind of flip it around the other way. It's like, we'll work on the users. We'll make sure the users are safe and good. And hopefully they will demand the devs come and use something like this because it keeps them safer.
Cool. Let's touch on roadmap if you're open to it. What are you guys working on? You want to hear all the big plans.
Yeah, I can't talk about all the big plans, but I can tell you that the AOL staking is important. We are almost certain, we're kind of like finalizing some of it to have some of the eco token staking as well. So people who've been supportive to us while we've been flopping around here for 3 months, people who have Burger, Patriot, Dream, and Valor are going to have the ability for a period of time to also participate in the LP revenues. And so that way we give back to the people who've been sticking with us in that way. But in terms of the actual product itself, we do have the future, more curated version. We're going to do KYC related things on that side to keep people a little bit safer. We have, what can I talk about? I mean, I wish I could, I'll tell you in private, but we have a lot of people listening right now.
We'll say that for after the show.
There's some really freaking cool crap that we're building here. And any one of them working is going to be a bombshell, right? And so I, like, the way I see it, I have a thesis on what's going to work. People who found companies, they usually have a thesis on what's going to work. It's not always right? It's not always right. A lot of times you end up going off and then, Gmail was an accident, right? Like that was literally, like, AWS was an accident. And that's where most of the profit of Amazon comes from. These things were just things they were like, oh, let me just test this out and see if there's an audience, see if it makes sense. And boom, these become like core products that actually make a ton of sense. So we have a number of those that I think will do well, that I wonder if they'll do well. I wonder if they'll be well received or not. but we'll see. We'll see.
Maybe let's ask you this way.
Yeah.
We saw Believe, hit like a 300 mil market cap. There's obviously Pump is in the billions. Other launch pads are like Bonk is fairly highly valued. You guys are, 5 to 8 mil now. Congratulations on the recent price action.
Thank you.
But like, is that the play? Like, are you guys trying to be the next Pump here and like vertically integrate the stack from, AMM to Launchpad to trading with what they got Padre? Like, give us where you see yourselves.
Full ecosystem.
We're thinking, how should I say it? Yeah, I mean, like if you think about like what Pump's thoughts are, we don't have the same product motives as them. Like I have no interest in streaming, for example, for various legal reasons and ethical reasons too, frankly. But if you think about the way that they're not just like one thing, they're building a whole bunch of crap. That's what we're doing too. Like, so yeah, so you can say it's a vertical stack. We want this to be very similar to a situation with America Online back in the day. I'm really encouraged by the way they did stuff. I used to log in every effing day. You guys are too young. I don't think you ever did, but I used to log in every single day and I would check my email, play a game, I would read the news, I would browse the web, which was a little more filtered of a web, by the way, just like we have a little more filtered probably of an experience on our side, but it was one that was better. For most users. If you want to play games outside of it, you can do that, but otherwise not.
That was my generation of the internet, just to be clear. Some
okay.
of us are a little younger, but I got you.
Well, you get where I'm going at, right? I mean,
all right. GMCG. What is going on, folks? What is going on?
GMCG.
What's up, boys? What is going on?
Chilling, man.
I feel like markets have completely turned here, fully reset in 2026. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but we see Bitcoin, we're on a little bit of a pullback right now. We got some thoughts that we'll share about that here in a bit, but we got a nice pump. I mean, from January 1st to now, we've gone up about almost 10%. Which is a pretty nice move going up all back-to-back days. So looking really bullish so far here in 2026, really making people kind of rethink their views of how this year would pan out. But we see quite a lot of people still holding to kind of a bearish outlook for the year. So I guess that's one of the first things we'll get into today. We got a nice show lined up. We have some interviews, as we mentioned yesterday, with Impulsor here at 12:30. So we got them coming up here in about 20 minutes. And then we have Tessera coming up at 1:15. So looking forward to those interviews. But I guess let's start high time frame, guys. I know, Dom, you had some thoughts that you wanted to share. I saw that tweet that you put out. In fact, I can pull that up if you wanna kind of start rolling.
Yeah, maybe you pull that up. I can toggle on my Bitcoin chart here, get a macro
the
view
Dom
going.
versus LB discussion. I like it.
No verse. I think more just
collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration. Just based on how we see the markets here. I'll pull up Chills. Can't actually add it to stage. Josh, maybe. Oh,
here. Sorry, I got to remove mine. There you go.
Okay. So this is LB's case, and actually on the 4 hour, it seems to be lining up nicely with that schematic. But I do see things a little bit differently. When you're looking at Wyckoff, you don't actually necessarily need to follow the exact schematics. That's not really how it works. But and I'm not saying LB's a beginner, but for beginners, it's a good reference point. That being said, LB said here his base case for Bitcoin is that we follow the Wyckoff accumulation. Long story short, without reading this, he expects to see another test down, kind of spring and sweep the range lows. It looks like he actually doesn't have that spring going below the selling climax we had at the start, and then continuing up. I kind of see the market differently, and I'm going to toggle my screen on here. Oh, here, actually, Chill has my comment here. I said, feeling more like a type 2 accumulation rather than a type 1. I think we had our phase B with the secondary test, which is ST, that didn't breach below the range. I doubt we see a spring, though, through range lows, waiting for the sign of strength to confirm. And then he sent another chart with a phase 2. And this is what a phase 2 Wyckoff schematic looks like. And basically, long story short, it's a different type of accumulation. There is no spring. You just have the tests and then the continuation up. And you can see it kind of lines up there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'll actually show you, maybe write it out on a chart here. So you can see my Bitcoin chart, and I'll explain this. So for those who don't know, Wyckoff it's how I tend to trade when I look at technical analysis. It's derived from Richard D. Wyckoff, who created it back in the day. It's basically built off the fact that this is how order books and institutions have to move to fill large orders. They simply are playing with size where they can't get it filled in one go. So they have to basically test the market. And this is how they fill orders, right? From buying and selling and creating these schematics is what they're called. If you look over here, this is more of a type 1 accumulation, right? You had your, you had your selling climax here. I don't want to take too long. So you had your selling climax here. My keyboard's bugging out. You had your selling climax to automatic reaction here to secondary test right there. Then you had your secondary test here in phase B. We can draw it out there. So selling climax automatic, secondary test again. You got more tests along this range. Phase B is typically your drawn out range. So what you want to look at when you're looking at Wyckoff, and I'm going to try to make this a quick crash course here. When you're looking at Wyckoff, you want to see phase A, which is the first phase, start with a change of character. So you can see in this case, market was trending downwards, and clearly something changed right here. This is a change of character, right? So you got your selling climax to your automatic reaction, right? It's the reaction you got right after your selling climax. Basically, think about this like the institutions testing the water. Hey, is there any interest here at these ranges? So you got your selling climax, automatic reaction, and then your phase B is filling orders and continuing to test the range, right? So again, these institutions, these big players, market makers, whatever you want to call them, they can't fill their orders in one single fill. There's just simply not enough liquidity. So they have to test multiple times, and phase B is what that's for. Okay. So in this case, you got secondary test, and finally you closed off after the phase B is done, which is typically the longest drawn out period. So you have A, then you have B, you get phase C, which is the final phase where they do their final sweep. They fill their last bit of orders by forcing a sell-off in the market. So they sell down, then they buy up with their orders, and then the market resumes to the upside. So, right, this is now your spring. This is what LB was looking for. Okay, he's looking for a phase 1, something like that. And then what happens is you breach, you get your second change of character here. So your first change of character is basically when the trend starts changing with the selling climax until automatic reaction. Your second change of character is actually going to be when price reverses and starts moving up. And that's when you break out the previous range. So we can call it right there. And so you got your sign of strength here. And then we got a testing action here, or they call this, what's the word? I've been so long since I've spoken on it. This is like testing the range again and then continuing up. Basically, that being said, why I've had this blue range drawn out for a while, you guys have seen I had these ranges, is assuming that we continue order flow going up. So accumulation, continuing up, and then a reaccumulation in this range is because we remember institutions had to sell off here to cause this spring to continue up. And so what they'll typically do is they'll bring price back down and start accumulating after they close out the previous order. So they come down here, close out the previous order, continue. Sorry for making this long-winded, but now I'm going to get into why I think this is a type 2 rather than type 1. Type 2 is a little different. You have a selling climax, and as you can see, phase A or selling climax always or typically comes with a larger spike in volume. So you can see down here the volume signal. You can see if there's a big spike in volume. I typically don't look at the volume because you can just look at the candles and kind of see it. But you can see right here, there's also a big thing of volume. So this is indication of a change of character, and hopefully the momentum can shift here. And if this sustains, we can get a reversal. So same thing. I'm going to draw this out a little quicker. We have our selling climax to our automatic reaction. And in this case, we spend phase B up here at the top of the range. And rather than getting a move down here to maybe spring us out and continue making a type 1, right? Selling climax to automatic reaction, secondary test in phase B, secondary test in phase B, and then a spring, phase C, and then into phase D where you go up, maybe test the range and continue. We actually are seeing something a little bit different, and the movement is looking different. And so when I look here, I don't see the same characteristics. I see a selling climax to automatic reaction to a secondary test, phase B kind of going on here. And then I think phase C happens here. We got a last point of supply here is what that's called in LPS. And then I'm expecting us to break here with a full closure above, and that'll be my confirmation of our sign of strength. I would like to see it with a nice full candle. If we end up failing here, I could also see this if we do fail from here and reject, I could see this being a UTAD and a distribution, right? All a reaccumulation is a failed distribution. And so if you look at this from the other perspective, you have your selling climax, buying climax, secondary test, UT, which is an upthrust. You have an upthrust here again. And then what's called a UTAD, which is a UTAD upthrust after distribution. And that's what this would be if this sustains and maybe goes down here. And then in that case, maybe we could see a spring. This could be drawn out a little bit longer, but at this current point in time, I'm not expecting a spring. And even if we do reject here, I kind of expect us to maybe trickle down lower into previous accumulation ranges. So a little bit drawn out, but I think this is our last point of support here. I think maybe we test down here a little bit and then continue up. Ideally confirming this after we get a nice solid close above here, being our sign of strength. And ideally, we would do that with increasing volume as well. We'd like to see volume increasing. So typically, you bottom out volume at the spring or around the spring, and then volume increases as you break the range. You want to see increasing volume breaking the range, showing that this is sustainable, etc. So ideally, we'd like to see volume start increasing as we move up, or at least volume from candle to candle being higher per candle. So we'll see. Ideally, that's what I'm thinking. I think this is a type 2. Just the characteristics are a little different than a type 1. So that's a little bit of explanation. Sorry that I kind of went long on that, but that's what I'm looking at. I do expect Bitcoin, long story short, to maybe reject here a little bit and then continue to range and send us to new all-time highs. So, yeah.
I think that was a really, really great breakdown of, the potential outcomes and what you're looking at. Honestly, I think we pull back here, plain and simple. I think we pull back here. Not it's over, not, oh my gosh, it's done. The move is over. Bitcoin's going to zero. It's just more so, hey, let's pull back, set a higher low, and then we can resume a path higher. I wasn't really looking at that. I wasn't really looking at that, Wyckoff accumulation. I wasn't really looking at that schematic as a pathway for upside, but just kind of looking at key levels, like right here at 94K. I mean, I guess I can pull my screen up here so I can just explain it a little better. But I got these two levels marked off. We haven't made it above. This has been like a key level here at 90, call it 94K. But I figured with this momentum, we'll make it to 95, and we pretty much did 94.8 before pulling back. And I basically said this yesterday on a tweet. I said a pullback here would be perfectly healthy. And here we are pulling back. And we talked about the CME gap yesterday at let's call it 90K ish. But I wouldn't be surprised to see us revisit low 90Ks, so that way we can just kind of retest this area. Look, we haven't made it out of this area since November. We haven't broken above 94K since November and held, right? So as we go up and push into this area, I'm not going to be bullish every single time. And so I would expect at the very least, if we are going to break through, maybe we form a higher low. And where's the most logical place for us to do that is the top of the multi-week range. We've been in a range for almost a month starting at December 6th, and we finally broke above it. So where would be the logical place for us to retest? Would be the low 90Ks. And then I look for a continuation. Still bullish on 2026. Think it's going to be a crazy year. Still bullish on Q1 overall. But I think a retest of these lower prices can set us up for much higher prices in the near future. Real quick, can I sidetrack this? Have you guys, can I real quick just detour to some alpha that I think we should cover before we start interviews? Okay,
let's do it. We got what, 15 minutes here?
Always.
Are you guys seeing the vibe coding meta? Are you guys seeing man. Okay. So have you guys seen the Sol token by any chance? Okay.
I've heard about it. Tell us. Enlighten us.
Here is the Solana tomato coin, I believe is the long form name. But basically Solana, this token is like there's a digital tomato that the Claude agent is in charge of nurturing, right? And so there's actually a thread that breaks this down, but just with the mindshare growing around vibe coding, around Claude, here's a thread that kind of puts this all into perspective. So it says Sol is a coin that represents a tomato plant that is grown autonomously through Claude code, which is managing its grow 10, managing light, soil, moisture, and that represents the evolution of the Claude code meta, is according to Sleepy God here. But basically, the part for me that gets me interested is Boris Cherny, the core creator of Claude code. He engaged with it. And when it comes to memes, if people start picking up on it, if larger accounts, larger people that are actually important outside of CT actually start interacting with these things, go back to Fartcoin and SNL, and going back to Fartcoin being mentioned by all these financial firms, when they start getting that mention, mindshare starts growing outside of CT. And that's what we saw happening in the last AI meta. And I think that's why we're starting to see people sort of get excited about this, because it reminds them of the early stages of the AI agent meta of last cycle not even last year, Q4 2024 at this point. So I think that is kind of a piece of it. But here's there's some lore basically around why he left, things of that nature. But look at this part. He said, what makes this interesting is that Claude code as an agent is not just helping code tasks. It's executing lights, temperature, humidity, etc. It's literally keeping a plant, a living thing, alive. And so it's just this idea that an agent is autonomously doing this work in the background. And obviously vibe coding and Claude agent, something I'll be looking into later today, is something that is catching the interest of not only CT, but people, around people outside of CT. So going back to this chart, I marked out this buy zone here. I think it's under 3 mil. I think is a great place. And honestly, let me see here. Let me just refresh the screen so the chart can be fully updated here. But yeah, as you can see, it's starting to pull back a little bit. But I think I kind of like this as a buy zone. At least that's the one that I'm eyeing. Number one, it's a golden pocket. It's a great retest of a key area, some confluence there. And, I think for me, that would be a DCA 1, and a DCA 2 would be if it kind of revisits this like lower cluster at the 0.786. Now, if we get the pullback on Bitcoin that I think we will, I think we'll get the pullback on this as well, providing an opportunity for us to, or for myself at the very least, to DCA down. And let me show you what I'm thinking. Like maybe it goes here. If we pull back on Bitcoin lower, maybe it pops below and continues. So maybe it does something like this. But I literally just discovered this like, right before stream. So with the vibe shift overall, I wouldn't mind a DCA 1 at current levels, like 3 mil, that sort of area. Ideally would love to see it push in the buy zone and stuff like that. But, TA and stuff goes out the window when it's like purely bullish vibes. So, but just wanted to put that on everyone's radar. I think that's something that's I think there's some, I think some other people kind of picking up on this as well. So the narrative is starting to attract a ton of people. So just want to put that on everyone's radar. But yeah, thoughts, anything?
Yeah, I mean, vibe coding
keeping a virtual
right now,
tomato alive. I love it.
Look, it sounds stupid, as many memes do. Like remember the pig, Josh?
Oh,
back in the summer of last
we
year.
don't want to repeat that.
Moon Pig. There was someone that came into our stream last summer and they're like, you should buy Moon Pig. And it was like at 1 million.
700K market cap. Moon Pig went to 70 million. Faded the whole thing.
We faded 100x on stream because it sounded, I'm like, Moon Pig. I'm like, seriously?
Moon Pig.
Right,
I remember those words exactly. I do have,
are we serious?
I do have something to cover real quick. From one of our sponsors, Orgo, and I know we went through really quick their year-end announcement, and I'm just going to throw this on stage. So Rambo, first off, Rambo, shout out you with the SOAR badge here. If you're working with SOAR, congratulations. That's new. I've not seen that before.
Soar's been throwing out badges to a few people.
Yeah, I mean, SOAR, where's the MCG badge, guys? As AI labor scales, demand for Orgo infrastructure will accelerate. We agree. We covered this on stream, so I'm not going to rehash it. But Captain Beef, GM Orgo. And then I'm like, okay, let me look into this. There's a reply. Oh, good day. A beautiful SOAR Sunday. Don't know if this means anything. Obviously, in this post, Spencer had said he had reviewed all these models and wasn't sure exactly what model to choose. But Orgo, nice little interaction there.
A beautiful SOAR Sunday.
We'll see. A beautiful SOAR Sunday. So just wanted to call that out because unless you were paying attention, you wouldn't have seen that in the replies.
Yeah, that's a good catch. It's good to speculate on a little bit, but I think it's pretty clear Spencer is like highly leaning in the direction of a Street or a SOAR model. Did you guys see the CLED AI update?
Please.
No.
Oh my gosh. Banger, guys, banger.
Oh, yeah, you go for it there.
All right, sweet. Huge CLED update here. I was excited to see it. Let me zoom in. All right. So CLED just rolled out this new flywheel, basically. They've been talking about the flywheel. We know they have this equity anchor coming that they're working on with Street Foundation. But in the meantime, they've also added a flywheel, an interesting thing here. And I'll just read the tweet. Over $3 million is actively sitting in wallets. And by the way, CLED's popularity has been absolutely hockey sticking. Like they're charting on the App Store in a bunch of different countries. They've gotten hundreds of thousands of downloads, which I think is noted here in this tweet. So I'll just read the tweet instead. But over $3 million is actively sitting in the wallets of our users. We are rolling out an app notice to swap active payouts to CLED token for increased payouts starting now. CLED is now charting top 100 on the App Store in 6 countries and closing in on 200,000 downloads with 150 million views in 3 weeks across all posts mentioning the app. We're on track for 1 million downloads by the start of Q2 2026. We're on track to do 100 million plus in payouts by the start of 2027. And I went and confirmed down here. I said, so to confirm, this CLED payout will come from open market buys rather than a treasury from the team you may have. Correct. He goes, to be clear, all swaps must be in the linked wallet connected. Oh, let me give his reply here. Aster replied, who's very close to Avi. He said, no, this means people got paid out in cash like usual, but now they can have the option to market buy CLED with said cash, infinite buyback flywheel. Avi made a few clarity posts as well. To be clear, all swaps must be in the linked wallet connected to your CLED account to claim posted payouts. Another clarifying point, you have to hold to get a boost in payouts. Swapping and selling instantly will not work. Holding more means more rewards. So what's happened here now is we have this app that was #1 in Malaysia, #1 in Africa, I believe. It's just been charting across the board. They've already processed $3 million of payments, or over that, 3 million sitting in people's wallets. And they're pushing out notifications now to give people the option to, hey, you can have your dollars, you can have your $500, or you can have $600 in CLED, which are going to go in open market buy, but you have to hold it. And by the way, holding CLED is going to get you boosted payouts, special tasks, all these different things in app. So they're actually gamifying it a little bit. So this is why we're seeing the next Axie Infinity kind of question swirl around, people saying this is the next Axie Infinity, because we're starting to see lots of popularity there, and people I don't know, are just making these assumptions. So pretty cool update. I think that's huge for CLED. That's, even if a quarter of these people convert to CLED to get a boosted payout, that's a lot of buy pressure. So interesting update there. I feel like I had to cover that. I got a few more, guys, but I'm not sure if we want to just rip Tessera right now or go over a few more after. Your call.
Maybe we save them for after, so we don't need to rush through them since we just coming up in a couple minutes. Maybe we just like finish off with some like majors, and then we just bridge in. I know we kind of cut ourselves off a little bit.
Go ahead, man. Take it. I'm good.
Cool. All right. Let me do this. Let me pull my chart up because we see a few things happening with some majors. First off, Ethereum looking really good, breaking out of a downtrend. And I don't know if you guys saw Vitalik's tweet the other day, but Vitalik is actually standing on business when it comes to Ethereum. He mentioned that Ethereum isn't meant to be the most efficient. It's not meant to be the most convenient. Ethereum is meant to be completely permissionless, something that's completely resilient and decentralized, which I feel is Ethereum's moat at this point in time. Is the fact that it's fully decentralized and fully resilient. And so that's why I don't really understand why people are continuing to doubt Ethereum.
It sounds like that's what you say though when you don't have the fastest chain and you're losing popularity. Like he said, okay, we're not convenient and we're not fast. Well, okay, well, we want a convenient and fast chain. So like,
but here's the thing. What do you get with fast and what do you have to sacrifice in order to get convenient? You have to sacrifice certain things, which kind of, to me, it pokes a hole in kind of the structure, the decentralization. It pokes a hole in that stuff. Like, just like Solana, for example. Solana's validator set is super. It's not as decentralized. It's, if anything, it's trending towards centralization, and that's because of this sort of fast, efficient nature of Solana. And it's not good for validators, and so it's not decentralized, and they can shut the chain down at any time, things of that nature. If you want, he basically said in the tweet, and I can pull the tweet up real quick. I know we have to Sarah coming on, but he basically said, like, yes, like efficient and convenient, that's not the focus. Basically what he's saying is he wants resiliency. He wants resilience first, and then they can worry about everything else, right? Then they can build other things on top of it. But he said resilience is sovereignty, and that's ultimately just like Bitcoin. Bitcoin isn't built for smart contracts and DeFi and all these other platforms to be built on top. That's why Ethereum was made. Ethereum isn't doesn't have the same speed and high throughput that Solana has, but it is still completely resilient, decentralized, and it isn't owned or affected by any one party like the core technology. So I think that's something important to keep in mind. And I think that's why guys like, I don't know if you guys remember this guy, Taiki Maeda. Remember when he said this on this? When he said this in December, we literally got on stream and I said, why are you bearish on December 17th, which is right here? Why are you bearish on December 17th here? Why are you bearish here? We're already going into support at this point. Bearish support is not the way. So as we can see now, he's about to get liquidated.
I feel like Taiki got overzealous, man, because he had just come
100%.
off a massive short earlier. He short ETH at Pico top, I think, and he made a pretty good bag on million plus, I think, around there. And so, I think he saw this, he got a little overzealous, loved his thesis a little too much, married his bags, and he went for the double down. And you think he's getting bodied.
Yeah, he definitely is getting bodied. That's ETH. I still hold to my 15K thesis, by the way. Still holding to that. You guys know that from
we know the flag is out there. Might have to be moved to the right slightly, but I actually think it was Q1 2025 or 2026.
Yeah, flag is still here.
Still there. It hasn't moved.
Flag.
Yeah.
March 2026.
Yeah, up in space, but we're good. All right, let's do Tessera here.
Yep.
Not a token to cover, maybe one day, but yeah. What's up, Steven? Oh, sorry.
Steven, good to see you again, and you're muted.
Hey, good to see you guys. How are you?
Doing well, man. I'm excited for this conversation. We talked at Met Dobby here in December, and it was a really fascinating conversation. We have those podcasts ready to go.
We need to get it out there.
We got to get that out there. But before that, we get to talk to you again.
Might have been a little miscommunication between, I thought that Meteor was going to post it, but I didn't realize we were just using the studio. So, but we'll get it. We got it edited and stuff.
I thought it was a Meteor podcast, and we'll get it out. We have it clipped up too. So I'll send you ours clipped up.
Sweet. Well, we do too. Nonetheless, we're happy to have you back. We're going to get into everything Tessera. It's a fascinating conversation. One thing MCG has been focused on for the entirety of 2025, or at least the back end of it, was private equity coming on chain. You have some takes on this where I think I just saw the other day, you said, look, private equity has been one of the most hot sectors recently. And like, there's just so many gains and it's uncomparable to pretty much anything. And so I'm excited to talk all about it and how, some of us can get exposure to these markets. But maybe Steven, start with yourself. Who are you and what is Tessera?
Yeah. So I'm Steven. I'm the CMO of Tessera. I've been in crypto since 2014. I've been working full-time in this space since 2020. Been all over DeFi, oracles, consumer applications. I've grown a few businesses. I've sold a business, primarily a business developer and marketer. And that's what I do. What Tessera is we're a private equities platform. So we allow retail investors to get 100% of the cash upside of private valuation to public. So in a very simple way, you buy a token from Tessera, which is one-to-one backed through Chainlink and Fireblocks custody. When that company goes public, you're able to burn those tokens for the cash that's made post-IPO. However, that entire process in between, these are fully permissionless tradable assets, which means we can integrate them into DeFi and do a lot of things that other competitors in this space, which is still a pretty small space, are not able to do.
Yeah, this is super interesting. So are you guys only focused on companies that you know are like headed towards an IPO in the relatively near future, or how do you gauge what's gonna IPO?
That's a good question. Initially, it's primarily companies that are large that have a very high degree of certainty of going public. So SpaceX, OpenAI, XAI, there's a handful of others that you guys have seen in the deck. There's some prediction markets we're looking at, but quite a lot of companies this next year, 2026 and 2027, that we know are going public. And so we buy private positions within those companies, and we then back them one-to-one and offer tokens that are redeemable for the cash.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a really cool thesis here. Can you walk us through a bit of the legalities behind this? Because you look at, we saw this with Robinhood. This is a conversation we had as well. And sometimes there's questions whether or not you actually own the underlying asset. Can you tell us about how that works? Do I actually hold this private company? The legalities behind it. I think we lost him.
I think we might have.
No.
Yeah, I think he's frozen. Yeah, I think it's
Oh,
I lost.
oh,
Am I back?
You're coming in. There you go.
All right, there we are. I didn't for the past minute.
I think he's still lagging just a little bit. Maybe we wait for it to just catch up.
He also has that South Florida internet connectivity.
Yes, Steven, do you by chance happen to be in Florida?
No, I'm in the Midwest.
Okay. Oh, you're wearing the jacket. We in Florida here struggle with connection all the time. We get
all day today. All day today, I've been struggling. I've had numerous calls that I've had to call in on my phone. So let's hope we're good now.
Yeah, holding steady. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Let's go back.
We were talking about the legalities. Yeah. So like, how do I know as a holder? Let's say go through the Tessera platform. Maybe you can walk us through how this looks. And I see you guys have SpaceX in there. I want to get a piece of SpaceX. It's tradable. Maybe there's a bit of arbitrage. Walk me through how I can buy it and what kind of protections I have as a holder buying these private assets.
Yeah. So once we're live, you can just buy it on any DEX. During the actual initial sale, it'll most likely be through Alpha Vaults on Meteora with a DLMM setup. You'll get the exact valuation that we purchase on the private market. So let's say we launch with SpaceX. I believe their last round was at 800 billion, most likely going to be IPOing at 1.5 trillion. If you were to buy, you would get the exact 800 billion valuation. In terms of protections, we use Chainlink proof of reserve. So you're always able to see that the SPVs in Panama actually own that equity, and everything from transferring that equity into cash through trustees, through those SPVs, and then getting those stable coins to be redeemable for burned Tessera tokens. That process is entirely permissionless. So you don't have to trust us, and we don't require you to upload identification. We don't actually hand over the equity. We're just handing over the cash that we've earned off of that equity. And so very clear from a regulatory standpoint.
Who's the entity buying it? Is it Tessera LLC is the purchaser of the private equity, or do you work with a firm that is also purchasing that equity on your behalf?
We purchase the equity ourselves. So there's a couple different products that do varying degrees of this. Some of them take the demand and then go purchase it. What we do is we purchase 100% of the supply that we want, and then we offer that up to the public.
How do you know how much you want to purchase? Is there like an ICO beforehand? Maybe you raised
It
5
depends.
million.
Yeah, it completely depends on the position and what the check size is. Some positions require anywhere from $1 million to 5 million. Some we're able to get for like 500K. It kind of just completely depends, which also tweaks the valuation you get. Just a case by case scenario, but 500K to $1 million is a very conservative amount for an asset class like this. So there will always be enough demand to fill that.
Got it. Blanking, man. What was I gonna say? Josh, maybe you can take it. I had a good question.
What do the asset issuers or the equity issuers think of this? There's a very famous moment when Robinhood announced these private equity tokens, and I think it was Wintermute and OpenAI said, "No, that's not our equity. You don't own it. We're going to cancel it." Maybe like what are the risks around that?
That's not true. It's funny. One of you had actually asked this during our podcast, and Chan gave a little bit of the description. So summarizing what he said, Elon Musk with SpaceX said, we're not endorsing this. So very clear distinction between saying that isn't legal, because what Robinhood did is legal. They're able to do that. It isn't a legal issue. It's just SpaceX did not endorse them doing it. So he was distancing himself from the type of product, not canceling it or doing something legally to circumvent that.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember my question from earlier. You'd said the buyers get to buy at the same price you guys got in at, but then there's also a tradable market. So how does that work exactly? You know, let's say I want to buy it at 800 billion. Is there like a number that sells out, and at that point it bonds onto a tradable market, and then it's tradable at whatever price the speculative?
Yeah, it'll be a single bin identical price auction, essentially similar to like a uniform price auction. So it'll be the exact valuation that we get. And in terms of once that's live on the market, there will always be some premium or discount, and that'll just be normal market dynamics that keep it within. So let's say a token comes out and for some reason someone bids it up and it runs like 5x. Obviously that's such a massive premium that would come down to whatever the fair market value of that is. Now, the caveat there is we're not an X stock. We're not a public equity. So there's no pricing oracle that's using a traditional market. We essentially become the oracle. And this space is so inefficient. Private equity has a lot of inefficiencies, a lot of hurdles, and it's a completely gated access. So we're fully unlocking that for retail and attempting to become the pricing oracle.
So if I'm a private equity investor and I say, oh, on Tessera, I can get SpaceX trading at a 15% discount versus whatever the private shares, some employees selling shares, like, do they trust Tessera enough to go in, buy it, and then when they go to redeem it, like what happens in that scenario? Just walk us through. Like, I get it for retail, but I want to understand it from someone who's doing the due diligence, who has, big LPs that they got to satisfy. Like what do they think of these types of products?
So it's an interesting question. There's a couple different people there. So the retail side, it makes a lot of sense. They're not able to access this anyways. From an existing institutional investor that is dealing with private equities, that I'm sure is an accredited investor, they don't need a product like this. So whether they use us or not, and we do have some interest in people planning to use Tessera that are already accredited and can just go do it on their own. And so that question boils down to whether they like the cash out process. And what that is we'll use SpaceX, for example. We buy SpaceX 800 billion. We offer that up to the public. Let's say there's $1 million of SpaceX in the total supply. You want to buy 1% of the supply. So you now have $10,000 of Tessera SpaceX. SpaceX then goes public at 1.6 trillion. That's a 2x. Your 1% of the token supply, that is 10 grand, is now redeemable for 20 grand, because that's 1%, that's 1% of a 2x. So your initial purchase as a holder, you would have bought that, not traded it at all, waited until the company IPOs, waited till a lockup period, and then you burn your tokens for whatever the market value is. I'm just saying 1.6 trillion because it's an easy 2x math.
And so can I ask, why do you burn the tokens for the cash equivalent value rather than burning or converting the tokens for, the actual
equity?
Stock,
That's for legal reasons. We're not actually handing over the equity. What you could do is you could immediately convert that into an X stock, and it's essentially the same thing. And we have some potential ideas on adding some swap UI so that someone, instead of claiming the cash, would be able to claim the X stock. And the reason that would still be legal is we're not actually handing them the equity off chain. It's just converting it into another CA.
Right. So this is kind of the crux of Tessera here is legally the equity of SpaceX, they would have to know who the investor is to like assign them onto, let's say, the quote unquote cap table. However, what you guys are doing is saying we're one entity, but within us, we kind of reissue it out only as the cash component. They can't redeem that equity, but only the cash component because we can figure out a way to do that.
Can't probably isn't the right word because we could, but there's a KYC process. There's a whole bunch of accreditation considerations. There's US regulations. Do you do it? How do you do it for non-US citizens? There's so much uncertainty there, and there's some upcoming acts that might make that more clear. But
hopefully,
we're trying to build a permissionless protocol that solves all the inefficiencies of the secondary market already. And what you're describing doesn't solve the efficiency of the secondary market. That just repurposes how we give you the equity, right?
Yes.
So that's not what we're essentially trying to do. And
got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I was just trying to like understand kind of the reason why the system doesn't exist today and then what problem you're trying to solve. And I think we've tapped on that. But the real thing and what you're directing it at is more about, can we do price discovery, on chain for these assets that are private companies today, where there is no, liquid price discovery happening, basically is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. And companies can't like try and block this in any way. There's no, we mentioned that they couldn't endorse what, Vlad is doing over at Robinhood, but they can't block it also, right?
It's funny you say that. We actually have people we have inbound of people wanting us to invest in their companies to give them a liquidity source and
that's cool.
And a secondary pricing. Because it's a big, let's say you're raising capital, and this is assuming Tessera, let's look 6 months, a year down the line, high volume, high number of private equities, numerous that have gone public. That cash out model is trusted, proven out. You're able to validate Chainlink's proof of reserves. Everything goes according to plan. There's going to be actual demand for a company, or let's say you're a lead investor in an early stage company and you're like, hey, I want to know what is the fair market value of this. Will you put some of that equity up through Tessera? You now have a very clear signal. Does the market like this or not? Does the market consider this valuable? And there's pros and cons of whether you would do that. And there's different risk profiles we would have based on how early the company is. We're prioritizing late stage, high likelihood of going public or having an acquisition, any liquidity event.
I could see like the broader base of retail being extremely excited to get into private equity just because it's something they're so unfamiliar with. There's so much gains to be made. Like you said, it's just a sector that's done so well over the last couple of years. Maybe if we step back, I'd love for you to give us a broader view of the private equity market. Like, how big is this private equity market? Why is it why is there a gap in retail, and why should retail have access to this opportunity? And like, why is it more exciting than maybe just the traditional stock market?
Yeah, let me actually pull up some numbers here.
And has it really been good the last couple of years? I mean, it was good for the last decade, but I think the last couple of years specifically, outside of a few tent poles, has been pretty rough for PE though, no? Like
immediately post IPO, even some of the positions that have come down drastically, even Circle, which I think is at or slightly below IPO price. I haven't checked it in a little bit. That's still a massive gain for anyone that got the round before going public. So kind of depends. I mean, you had Figma, you have Gemini, you're going to have OpenAI soon, SpaceX. There's so many opportunities that, of course, you're going to have positions that don't perform well post IPO, and you're going to have positions that perform very well. This is just democratizing the access. Right now, you can't access it anyway. So whether you wanted to look into this as a retail investor, you can't. And so I believe giving someone like the availability of all financial tools, I think that that's a right. And I think that anyone should have access. It's one of the reasons that I'm in crypto. One of the things that just kind of crypto pilled me outside of Bitcoin was when Aave and Maker, it was called ETHLend at the time, came out, and it was the ability to have a big position in something and collateralize a loan. And that's how every massively wealthy person in America treats their assets, is they don't have income, they take advantage of existing assets.
And so not to like contrary to Dom's first question, I think we'll get to this in a second here, but what's the difference between VC and private equity? And maybe that's a good one to answer, because VC seems like it's been struggling in terms of, you know, lack of liquidity and not a lot of VC investment, but private equity is a little further along. Do I have that correctly? So give us the lay of the land.
If you're thinking of the business model of private equity, where you acquire a company, you scrap it down, you cut costs, and you make it either a cash cow or you resell it, that's different. So we're a private equities platform. We're not a platform where you like, you know, take something private, scrap it down, sell as much as you can, and then come up with some gain. That's a completely different business model. But there's some differences. VC is just earlier stage. A private equity is typically later stage. It's mature. It's an established company that is, in our case, more likely to go public. And there's different risk profiles. PEs tend to have a little bit lower risk than the VC, like seed Series A stage. But from an access standpoint, there's not a whole lot of differences.
And, you know, to actually add context to the other side of the argument, Josh said, you know, maybe some of these venture capitals or private equity may have been struggling in certain sectors. I would actually say, you know, we've seen some of these companies raise faster and at higher valuations than we've ever seen in history before. And like, for me personally, having exposure to these companies that are raising from, you know, 100 mil to 200 mil to 500 mil to $1 billion so quick to, you know, so on and so forth, is like extremely appetizing. And like, you don't have that opportunity elsewhere. So
yeah, you mentioned, I believe you mentioned last time we met in Abu Dhabi, what was the position that you bought into that was performing really well? You own some private positions, don't you?
I own silver. I'm not sure exactly which one you're talking about. I can't recall it.
I could have sworn you said you got into Kalshi at like.
I may have mentioned that. I can't recall our conversation specifically.
Anyways, okay.
I gotta know if Dom's a secret like billionaire here. Like what's going on?
You said
I did mention the Y Combinator position in Kalshi that they cashed out.
You know what?
Like 700 mil.
Send that up. That must be what it was. Yeah.
But there's something there. Nonetheless, can you talk about those numbers that you were maybe looking up or pulling up there?
Yeah, I got distracted here. We have.
Sorry for distracting you. This is just the mechanisms here are really interesting, and it's not very well documented. So not just in general, not well documented.
Let me pull them up here.
Maybe documented is not the right word. Not well discussed, let's say.
Yeah. So right now it's a 540.72 billion private equity market. It's growing 9.58% annually to 1.35 trillion by 2034. The big opportunity here is we have 660 million crypto users, which is 13 times larger than the addressable market. There's 50 million accredited investors globally. So there is a massive amount of capital growth in PEs and a huge imbalance between the number of people in crypto and the number of people that are able to access those positions. Currently, there's a 6.7 to 7 year average PE holding period with big liquidity constraints. And the secondary market that's not on here. I think it's over 160 billion, which is not adequate for an asset class that's like 7 trillion right now. Let me actually throw these in our chat. We don't post some of the market research public. We probably should, but
can you screen share it? Yeah, can you screen share it, or you don't have to post it, but you could screen share.
No, I put it in our Telegram. I'm on my work computer, so you're going to be getting notifications and Slacks popping up live on stream.
Yeah, Are you okay if I screen share this slide? Would you be okay with that?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, see, like those numbers are really like those are crazy to me. That's what I want to see more of. I would actually love to see you guys posting stuff like that on your Twitter, because that's, I think, pretty much opens everyone's eyes up to just the size of this market. Here we go. Josh will pull it up.
Oh, here I got it. I'll rejig it. All right, here. There we go. Update layout. There we go.
Here's another one I'll send you to.
So let's see. The tokenized private equity opportunity is real. 540.7 billion. Private equity markets growing 9.58% annually to 1.35 trillion by 2034. There are 659 million crypto users versus 50 million accredited investors globally. That's a big one. 6 to 7 year average private equity holding periods with severe liquidity constraints. That's true. Yeah, like this is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, what makes you guys different from something like X stocks or other companies that allow you to trade?
Very different. I would say X stocks is more synergetic. They're definitely not a competitor at all. They're public equities. So the difference, and this is not a dig on X stocks, gold RWAs, really any RWA out there, is I'm much more bullish on things that enable access as opposed to like what I can do in Robinhood, right? So I've used X stocks, I play around with it, but I think because I trench, I don't know if I want to mix like Tesla and all these positions in with, all my meme coins that I typically lose money on. But I like the ability to unlock, essentially. And so there's a big difference between us and most RWAs out there. What makes us different than competitors that do private equities is some of the legal compliance, the KYC. There's some competitors that don't give you the tokens to kind of take off platform to put into lending markets or perp markets or, stablecoin yield strategies. And we're going to be enabled to essentially put these Tessera positions anywhere we want. So let's say you want to lend it out, and now you have a position that not only you hope appreciates like you would any lending position, but hopefully appreciates more than expected and then goes public and has a successful IPO. And so you can imagine the sort of snowball of having a collateralized position like that. Whereas typically, even in the traditional space, you would need to wait for something to be a very large public equity before your typical bank is going to accept that as collateral. So
I think that's a really interesting conversation. I'd love to jump into more what Tessera specifically is doing to enable looping and different DeFi mechanisms. Something else we talked about during our podcast in Abu Dhabi. It's just like you said, you have some opportunities that traditional finance and markets don't really offer in this sense. So maybe talk to us about, hey, once I buy a bit of SpaceX, let's say through Tessera, can I go and loop it through RainFi or a different DeFi protocol? And
I won't mention, so we're not ready to mention where and who. What I will say is we're attempting to get that integrated everywhere we can and everywhere that makes sense. And there's a lot of discussions underway, and there's some wallets, there's some massive DeFi protocols. There's a massive EVM protocol that wants us to provide some infrastructure for this. Not ready to mention all those names yet.
Okay.
And some of it is contingent. A lot of that, of course, is contingent on this product needs to be live, right? We're planning on going live Q1 of 2026. So could be in the next few weeks, could be in a couple months. You'll know here soon on our Twitter.
Let's go. Speaking of going live, what about Tessera token? Is there going to be a token when you guys go live? Is the token going to wait? Give us some updates.
Yeah, I won't comment on a token right now. It's a good question.
It's a good question. Is it a question you guys have been, discussing internally?
I have some ideas. I'm not planning on doing or saying anything about a token right now.
Interesting. Some ideas though, something to think about here. But okay, so you guys are planning to go live here in 2026 Q1, hopefully. Gonna mention some updates on who you're partnering with, maybe some DeFi looping protocols. Yeah. What about this? I have a tweet pulled up. Oh, I had a tweet pulled up here. It was a referral program. Can you talk a bit about the referral program, how this works? Just what I'm looking at here on the screen.
Yeah, that's actually a great opportunity. Do you have your own code?
No, we don't. We got to get an
Use the
MCG
code real
code.
quick, so I don't take your ref income. Real quick, let me send you. This will take 2 seconds. Check your
I
Telegram.
love it. The live referral link. I'll try and figure out a way to put it on stream.
Real quick, go to this website and then enter that code in. Then
Josh, you're on this.
Click create a code, and then send me what that is, and I'll use that to show so that you guys make some money.
There we go, dude. Got to squeeze out that juicy ref stuff. But here, maybe while we do that, can we talk a bit about this structure you guys have?
The way this works is we share 35% of all protocol revenue with the user. We modeled this off of some really popular existing ones, as well as we're using token extensions to ensure that this can't be circumvented for the person referring users. I think it's one of the strongest models. The way it works is there is a transfer extension. So no matter where you trade these tokens, that 20 bips is going to come out, even if it's on Axiom, even if you bring it to an exchange, swap it in Meteora, Phantom, Soulflare, our website, there will be 20 bips that is taken out. And the way that that's distributed is 30% goes to the person who referred you. Whoever you then refer, they get 3%. Whoever they then refer, they get 2%. So everybody I'm going to be earning 35% of everyone. For example, I just sent you a link. If you trade yourself, I'm going to make 30% of that revenue. I don't really expect you yourself to be doing a ton of volume, but you might then send that link out to a bunch of people. I'm going to be earning 3% of the revenue that those people generate. And then anyone that they send it to, I'm going to earn 2% of the revenue that they refer. And right now, we're up to, I think we're about to crack 1,000 active wallets doing this. And again, this is pre-launch, so it's kind of hard to know what are you going to make. I have very high hopes for it, and I think it's going to be a really powerful model that incentivizes people to onboard their friends and share these private equities with people. But yeah, we're coming up on 1,000 active wallets in this network.
Let's go, dude. Well, we love a juicy referral program.
So I was trying to, I don't want to FUD your website, but I was trying to connect my Phantom wallet and couldn't get it to connect. So just so you know.
There's the new dynamic sign up. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Disconnect.
Maybe really quick, you were at Met Dobby. That's where we connected with you. Are you working with Meteora on this at all? What's the connection there like?
Yeah, they're our partner for releasing these assets.
Got it. Okay.
We'll be using Alpha Vault DLMM strategies. We talk to them on a pretty daily basis for best strategies there.
Nice.
Got it.
In going back to this referral program here, obviously you guys got to make revenues yourself. How are you guys making money? Are you taking just a basis point spread off this? Like how does that look?
Yeah, so there's a 0.05% LP fee, which is pretty small. So we get 5 bips on the LP fee. And then of this 20 bip fee that I mentioned for this referral model, we would get, I can give you the actual bips we make. It's just some easy, let's see, 20.35.
Throw it in the good old calculator.
5 bips is 0.05%.
Yeah, so that would be 13 bips. So we earn 13 bips on trades.
Got you. I'd love to understand like a broader vision here. When you zoom out 2027 here, private equity is now fully on chain, tradable through Tessera. What is the grander vision? Are there any goals in terms of users? Is everyone trading private equity? I'd love to hear just like the thought that you guys envision for the new year.
Yeah, I think best case scenario, we become, like I mentioned earlier, the oracle of the secondary market. So we become like the price source of truth, because you can't use a Chainlink or a Pyth for pricing of private equities, because you're relying on reporting, you're relying on the information you do get, which can be limited. You're relying on more funding rounds, secondary market activity. There isn't a very good way to determine what should this be valued at. And so with enough volume and liquidity, I would view Tessera as becoming that source.
Got you. Yeah, that's an exciting future. I think I would love to go into a 2026, 2027 and have access to this. I think the average person really wants this. it's just a matter of if you guys can capture it or not. And I think you guys got a pretty good shot.
I could see a bunch of people saying, "Oh, I own SpaceX." You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Dom.
No, I just thought about this. We probably should have done this at the start, but could you talk a bit about your team and how you're equipped to do, to complete this vision you guys just laid out?
We have a lot of ex JP Morgan, traditional finance, handful of people in DeFi, large engineering team. We're a global team. We all are working. We are global, but we all work for our Singapore company. We're a Singaporean licensed entity. We've got some people in Hong Kong, Singapore, and 3 of us in the US.
Got you. And I know we got to wrap it up soon here because we got CPT coming on next. But when you think about the private equity and the levels that you're doing this at, obviously you have stocks that are going to IPO relatively soon, or at least you expect to. How low in valuation are you guys going? How early stage are you guys going? Because you're essentially creating markets that were unavailable at one point. What are your thoughts there?
Well, here's the issue. The lower in valuation and earlier you go in a company, the higher risk that company goes out. And so let's say we've offered position to the public. Well, now you have if they're 9 out of 10 companies that go out of business and don't succeed past Series A, I mean, what are you going to do when you've issued tokens that represent something that now is bankrupt, right? We now would have to go through a bankruptcy proceeding, get those proceeds, and then be, okay, do you want them? Well, now we've broken the model. Okay, are you going to KYC and go through this whole complicated legal process, or are you going to be left holding a bag of nothing? And so that's the risk of issuing something that is too early that goes under. There's always that risk to a degree, but I don't think OpenAI is going out of business before they IPO. You can critique some of the circular financing they're doing with NVIDIA and Oracle, and everyone. I won't really comment my own opinion on that for the conflict of interest, but you can have opinions on that over the course of a few years and what that could do, but they're not going under before they IPO. SpaceX, same situation. Some of these prediction markets, fairly unlikely. If I were to pick a company at the seed stage, I could almost guarantee you that company will not be having a liquidity event.
Right.
And it is very rare in venture to end up with an actual liquidity event, as opposed to in crypto, we're kind of conditioned on this short-term, secondary market trading. Every major protocol with a TGE coming up, you end up hearing about people on the team doing secondary sales, which is fine. There's some reason for it, but it's too much risk. I would say if we had enough of a treasury to cover the whole 100%, I would love to experiment with it. We've actually had some inflow of early stage crypto companies wanting us to be in their round, as well as a few companies wanting us to build this model out for pre-market TGEs. Not a huge fan of that, but if we had enough capital where, let's say we want to offer $500,000 of equity of some very early company, we could, and we would just match that 500K with hey, we're going to refund 100% if it doesn't pan out. That's what I would feel most comfortable for taking that risk. Just requires a lot of money.
This is kind of interesting. It seems like you guys have some really good deal flow here. On a different note, maybe if you had a token, this could be something for a token, but would you guys ever have some sort of venture arm or operation going on with Tessera where you guys do invest maybe separately from a tradable market? Or I don't even know how that would look, but has that been a conversation you guys have had?
Yeah, it's kind of the same answer I just gave. There's so much risk if we're going to be offering tokens to the public that are one-to-one backed, that I don't want to put retail in a position where they're going to be buying something that's probably going to go out of business. I want to pick very reputable, large businesses that are having a liquidity event.
Makes sense. One more thing, and Josh and Shill, you guys can maybe wrap after this, but when you think about arbitrage, obviously we have announcements where Kalshi, for example, announced that they raised at X valuation, and it's much higher than people expect. I think 5 billion or whatever it was.
No, it's higher now. It's a lot higher now.
It's a lot higher now. Yeah, I'm sure it is. But that being said, you get these arbitrage opportunities where I guess most people weren't expecting until they announced this raise, and a repricing would happen, especially if there's an on-chain tradable asset. How do you guys look at arbitrage and these opportunities where something's either very misvalued to the upside or to the downside?
Yeah, I mean, private equity is thrives on speculation and asymmetric risk. and a lot of opportunity. So that's the entire private equity trading secondary market position. So I think that's very well aligned with people in crypto.
Yeah.
I think it is something that will really take on. I think it's fairly bear market proof. You see, let's say you have SpaceX and it comes out at 800 billion and somebody acquires too much early on, and because of just liquidity and how that works, they sell it and the token goes down to be some, let's say 10-20% discount. It would kind of be a no-brainer to bid that up to pretty close to a premium, right? I mean, so long as you actually believe the numbers they're putting out there for what the IPO price will be, and then at a certain point that becomes a guarantee. Like at a certain point, the IPO price is public, and yeah, you should see the price snap up or snap down exactly to that, because everyone knows the percentage they own of that token is going to be redeemable for the percentage of cash that our position nets.
Cool. Josh, Chill, guys, have anything to close off with here?
No, I think I think that was a really good conversation. We covered all of our bases. And honestly, really excited to see what you guys build out here in 2026. I mean, I guess just to reiterate and close out and close out this interview. I mean, give us your 12 months out. What does this look like?
Ooh, 12 months out. What I hope, it's pretty simple. I would even say in the next 6 months, I hope we've had in a position that we have offered to the public go public. And so everybody can see what that process with Chainlink, the custody situation looks like, and how you burn your tokens. I would love to see that process executed. And I think it needs to happen a few times, and then people really understand, and it becomes a very easy value prop, right?
Got it.
If you're talking 5 year, my grand vision for Tessera becoming a secondary market, I mean, that could be 5-10 years. This is a massive market we're targeting. And so this is a numerous cycle play at that.
Well, can't wait to see you guys build it out. I mean, look, it's going to be a huge 2026 for all of us. So looking forward to having you back on the show as well as things kick off. Hopefully, I mean, hey, even if it happens in 6 months, looking forward to seeing you here again. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming today.
Nice.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Steven. Always a good talk. Peace.
Boom. Great convo. I like that that kind of access to KK. Yeah, Tessera team is tier 1. He said go, what was it? JP Morgan?
He said he has some JP guys on there.
JPMC has some TradFi guys, some DeFi guys. Really like that.
I mean, look, I think private equity coming on chain is inevitable. It's like these are 100%. Markets that would absolutely benefit from a 24/7 liquid speculative market. And it's really exciting, to be honest. So
yeah, and like he said, someone just has to do it. And then it's like, oh, okay, we get it. It's kind of like prediction markets. Someone just had to do it, and then it was like, oh, well, this is obvious. So
I just like the fact that what it's really doing. He said it's allowing companies to price themselves in real time, even if they're in a private round.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect of it because you make a private investment, you don't know what that's worth. Throughout the year, you don't know if your value is going up or down.
Private companies on one afternoon, they lose a contract, they're going to go bankrupt. The next day, they sign another contract, and all of a sudden, they have some capital in their thing. And like it's just, but he's talking about later stage stuff, so that like those business. But like Starlink is a cash cow and will be a cash cow for the future. Like,
I mean. We talked about it just the other day privately, bro. Like Starlink is what a sick company. But yeah, nonetheless, really cool. I think like it's a future where I would love to log on to my crypto app, whatever it might be, and be able to trade these private companies that were like once inaccessible. And I think like that's just a standard and reality that we're going to see pretty soon. So always interesting. Speaking of private companies, we got another private company coming on, or we have a private company coming on later to talk about some updates there. Mr. Patrick Singh of CPT and Pulsar.
Dude, that's going to be a huge interview. I think a lot of people have been wanting some updates. They've been fiending for some airtime with CPT. So glad that we could have him on today. We have 2 minutes, couple minutes until he joins up. Let's see.
Let's pull up a CPT chart.
Yeah, let's see.
Catching
Let
a
me
nice
pull
little
this up.
bounce here.
Check in
after a
on.
bit of a reset.
Yeah.
And again, we've talked about this just the other day. We talked about this on the show. It's like, what do you think? What do you think CPT's value at? We talked about how Vibu said that there's going to be a disproportional rate that the market prices something at until the model's proved out. And I think like that's what we're getting with CPT. You could ask probably anybody, but if they go right now and try to raise at 25, 30, 40, 50 million dollars, I don't doubt that they couldn't do it. Like I feel like they could pretty easily. And so you see this chart and you see it kind of at these stages where it's sitting at sub 15 million valuation for the company. It's like, well, there is some sort of arbitrage opportunity there. And I think we're getting this price likely because of the platform it's on and because the model's not fully proven out, or maybe people don't trust it. And that's what Vibu was talking about the other day. But yeah, this chart looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie. It looks like it could consolidate and candle here.
Yeah, honestly, it looks good for a move like that.
Saying mode. Look, CBT is on our schedule a lot.
lot.
I think the thinking here from our end is they're willing to talk about their business, and we are invested in their business personally. They haven't sponsored us or anything like that. We just own it ourselves, and we're pretty excited about it. And if this continues to develop, and if they keep pulling back the layers of the onion here, and this becomes a huge trade, you heard it on MCG. So,
well, the thing about this onion is there really are a lot of layers to it. Like, not only do they have the 3 different types of energy transfer, right? The contactless energy transfer, but then they also have the life finder that they're putting out here. And like, there are other projects that utilize this stuff, but it almost seems like fully separate products in its own right. So
yeah. And if you ask me, like, will all electronics have wires in the future? No, of course it will obviously have wireless power. I just think that's such an easy thing to not easy thing to disrupt, but it's an obvious like long-term technological development. So to me, you gotta, play it out. We've seen DARPA, NTT, as well as Mitsubishi Heavy Industries have also been experimenting with this stuff. So it's not out there crazy. It's something that's been, people have been playing around with and trying to commercialize. And we'll see where we're at here. We do have Patrick.
And before we even pull Patrick up, can we? Yeah. They've got a new website here. Do you want to kind of give it a look here?
Definitely. Definitely give this a look.
So here, I'll even throw the Twitter up there real quick. So the new website has been revamped. Boom, and we'll check it out here. So let's see, power transfer. Impulsor is moving quickly to deploy contactless power transfer technologies dedicated to democratizing access to power and elevating frontier technologies. They have 6+ active operations. The HQ is in the USA with active operations across the globe. I wonder what that means when they talk about active operations. Is that like Life Finder plus 5 more things that they're working on? Maybe we'll ask Patrick here in a second. Industry leading advisors across a range of disciplines, 12 of them, 92% efficiency, improving efficiency and energy transfer. Product ranges. We are set to deliver 3 product ranges comprising RF, MagRes, and optical CPT. We've talked about all 3 of those. So product ranges are different from their active operations. So I'm curious maybe for some clarity there. From ordinary to extraordinary, contactless power transfer solution that energizes the homes and cities and our future. Yeah, it's a good looking website.
Beautiful website, Patrick. How you doing today? You, sir, are unmute. Can't unmute.
Sorry, guys. Happy New Year to all 3 of you. Wishing everyone a peaceful, prosperous, amazing 2026 to all 3 of you, your families, all the listeners, and hopefully MCG, ICM, Meteor, everyone goes from hundreds to thousands to billions to trillions.
There we go, baby.
Manifesting.
You hit the ground running. I feel like I just watch Patrick's. I'm like on Christmas break here, talking with the family, and I'm just watching Patrick's Twitter the entire time. He's running around Geneva, running around other places. You've been busy though, huh?
I try to keep myself busy. I've been difficult to keep my energy in place. Romans on my back saying, "Oh, don't post this, don't post this." But I've been trigger happy. But I know I didn't want it to disturb people's holidays, so tried to restrict it. So today we have something big coming.
You got a nice well, we want to get into something big here, but you got a nice tree in the back there, looking good.
It's a nice little tradition.
Yeah, did you manage to celebrate the holidays? I remember you were saying that you're not much of a holiday person.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a holiday person, but I did manage to get a lot of sleep in. One of the things I want to do for 2026, I mean, you guys have seen me in Abu Dhabi. That's just traveling nonstop. But apart from essentially for Impulsor related business, I'm not going to travel as much as I have been. So I'll be taking longer trips and making more strategic decisions in terms of where my time should be spent.
Nice. Where are you right now, currently?
I'm in London right now, and I'm going to be in the States in mid-January.
Awesome.
Okay.
Are there presents under that tree? You said there would be presents under the tree, Patrick. We got to see the presents.
They've been opened and eaten and taken away. So
what about presents?
But I have a present, but it's not under the tree. It's here.
Let's get into it, Patrick. You got a new website. Website's looking good. We want to get into the presents. Before we get into the presents you have for the people here, yes. Clarify this with me. 6+ active operations. What does this mean?
It's a combination of. I was just listening before I got on. It's just a combination of we're going to start selling some of the products we're going to talk about today. And existing products include LifeFinder, some of the new products, which will have the Fortitude engine. And then in mid-January, one of the first meetings I'm having in the States will be, again, in 2-3 weeks, we'll have another announcement, which will be a big strategic thing going on. I won't say too much until we sign and get things done.
Interesting. Okay, so we have LifeFinder confirmed as one of the 6, and then 2, yes. You said the engine is the second one. We have 4 more that have yet to be revealed. Is that?
Yeah, correct. But it won't be done all today. We have to restrict the excitement for everyone.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think we just then maybe get into what's new with you. Maybe
okay.
You take the leader.
I've just got my phone right now. I'm on X. I'm going to post something. I don't know if you want to bring up the Impulsor post.
I already got Impulsor up.
3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, I'm pressing.
Whoa. Switch to it, Dom. Switch to it.
I'm trying to, man. I'm reloading.
Exclusively live on MCG as usual. So
as usual.
I hope the guys are watching. Okay, let's go. It's posting. It might take a bit of time.
Okay.
It will include a post and it will include a video. I'm posting it on HD quality, so it should be pretty good. Okay, it's
awesome.
loading.
We'll watch the video live too.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it live right now.
It's refreshing here.
Yeah. I hope everyone is watching and getting excited. I've been waiting for a couple of weeks now to get this. Okay, it's been posted. Let's go.
All right. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Okay. Before I get into it, we gotta read.
Okay,
introducing S-Drone. Oh, let's go. We've been waiting for this too.
Oh.
Okay. Continuously airborne, silent, autonomous, powered by CPT, paradigm shift in capability and function at the cost. At a fraction of the cost, excuse me. Not an upgrade, new infrastructure. AI is everywhere. Power will decide who wins. Impulsor solves power permanently. Unplugged, unstoppable. Guys, let me know if you can hear this when I play it. I want to make sure the volume's up.
No volume.
No volume.
All right, let me not spoil it. Gotta stop sharing. This is a StreamYard thing that always happens. Okay, without further ado, you guys can see it.
All right. Almost. Yep. Good.
Oh, yes.
Gotta
reserve your
clap that up.
evolution kit. Yeah, of course. Let me pause it here. We'll clap that up.
Gotta
This
clap
seems
that
to
up,
be
man.
like
Like-
what we've been waiting for, right? I think everyone's been like, we need to see the drone flying permanently forever. Is that what we're looking at here?
It's part of it. Basically, what this is, it's the S drone. S stands for Swift. Obviously, everyone knows the Swift is a bird. The Swift is one of the strongest endurance birds in the animal kingdom. It flies 10 months in a row from Europe to Africa and back during the migration season. Roman keeps saying it eats, sleeps, shits at the same time for those 10 months while flying. This is what we're trying to do. So that's the reference to the name S-drone. It's a system which is powered by AI. We're going to go through some examples with you today in terms of numbers. What are the use cases? You can grill Roman on Thursday in terms of more the tech capabilities. I'm talking more about the business side and the macro side as to what this is possible. So this is not, Impulsor is not a AI drone company. We are autonomous infrastructure operations, right? The CPT makes persistence possible, and the AI makes persistence intelligence, right? So for example, we've done a case study on the LAPD, right? They spend $46.6 million a year on 17 helicopters in their crew for both police, rescue, and operations and so forth. They can only do 4 hours airborne at one time. They need a crew of at least 4 people at any one time, and it needs training. What we're able to do is have 6 days airborne and 1 day for maintenance. What we're able to do is constantly having these drones up in the air if needed. So that's one thing. Obviously, costs, we can go in a bit deeper, but this will be the main driver. Will be at the same time, it's constant monitoring. It's much more cost effective. It's much more quiet. And roughly, there's 7,400 metric tons of CO2 emitted per year by the helicopters alone. What we're able to do for that is then help not just protect the people at distance, but also to able to reduce emissions as well. Now, because of the AI-enabled drones, what will able happen is the machine learning will also help to collect patterns, behaviors, and stop things from happening in terms of violence or maybe disasters from happening before they actually do. So that will be another thing that will keep on getting better and better. So for 2026, the big plan is to try to scale and roll out the S-drone, which is more than just a drone. It's actually a complete autonomous system that will help for, first and foremost, the emergency and policing systems. But later on, they will also have other uses such as agriculture, search and rescue, and other industrial uses.
Hey, Patrick, we're getting a little feedback in your background where the mic is not picking up your voice there just at the very end. I don't know if you have someone typing or whatnot.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. At the very end, it says reserve your kit today. I think it's the S-drone kit, or reserve your evaluation kit today. Could you, what's the evaluation kit? Where do people reserve? Like what?
Okay, great question. So what we're doing today is one of the things what we wanted to try to provide to a lot of the loyal support that we have is to give access to some of our fans, as it were, to be the first ones to reward their loyalty, to be able to pre-order some of the items and the products. So I can't tell you what the answer is right now, but in terms of time frame. But what we'll do is the page in the website later on will have a few different functions. One of them will have a comment section where people can put in like what do they want, what do they think can add value or contribute. That's one. And then second one is if people want to make an order, they can do so. And we're still working out the economics in terms of is it possible for token holders to use potentially tokens to trade in for product.
Interesting. And is this specific S-drone here, the device, using your the engine you showed us in
Correct.
the last?
Correct. So the Fortitude engine is inside. We haven't disclosed everything inside for the purposes of the patents. Roman will dissect much more in detail with you guys in terms of how it works, the weight, how long it flies, how does it take off, is it vertical takeoff, all that kind of stuff. He'll talk more on Thursday about that.
Interesting. I think the next question is like go to market. When did these things? I guess you said maybe you don't have a specific date in head, but when did these things start going to market? You did a case study on the LAPD specifically. Are you talking with police departments right now? Curious with that.
Okay, so the first demo should be done in February. Once the testing is all done, I think we can go into production probably in March. We are talking to a number of organizations right now, governmental organizations. I'm not going to name any cities specifically yet because we haven't signed anything yet, but we are in discussions.
Gotcha. So you guys are actually in discussions with some cities, some local law enforcement or what have you. But one thing I wanted to ask was just around, you mentioned that there was pre-orders, like that's kind of what you guys set up through the website where, certain people can come in and pre-order. Have you seen any orders come in just yet? Is that something you're willing to disclose at this stage?
No, we can disclose. Right now, no, is the simple answer, because we've just come out with it and we were in very stealth mode in terms of not telling too many people. And
Got it.
Coming end of the year, and we thought let's just release the news early January when people are back from the holidays, and it'll be a lot more productive. And also some of the cities and the government departments that we're talking to, a lot of them are not really that responsive during the holiday season, so it's like pointless. That's why we're waiting till now. And as Josh was mentioning, like holidays are not really sang mode, so I thought we would just refrain and rest up, recharge, and go for it in the first week of January.
Is this the core product? I know, like we've mentioned, we've had so many conversations, and a lot of it we've talked about this product where you have this drone that can fly forever. You mentioned the video endurance. Is this like the core product you guys have been really focused on?
This is the first core product, but there will be bigger and better products coming later this year. But this will be the first major product that we are delivering, which is completely proprietary from Impulsor.
And no one else has something like this?
No one else has something like this.
Can you get a little bit more into details of what this will be used for? We saw a few in the video. You just gave us a few, but maybe give us some more ideas of where this would be applicable.
Yeah, the easiest example would be policing. It would be any kind of like riots, aggravation, violence beforehand. It could be detected, search and rescue. This will be deployed not just by policing, but also by the fire and the ambulance, and helping search and rescue missions in difficult terrain. And also it helps to reduce the helicopter crew, specifically, let's say for the city of LA. It'll be a great thing to be able to reduce costs and to maybe even mobilize more teams of drones to be able to do this.
And talk maybe a bit about that sales process. So you talk to a city like LA, you say, hey, we can offset, millions of dollars of cost here, have something persistent in the sky all the time. And they say, well, we use drones today. I've seen clips of the LAPD using drones. Do they say, well, hey, yeah, you know what, next year we're going to do this? Or is it kind of like, yeah, what does that look like for a city like LA? Do they just flick the switch? Do they have to have, in the video you showed, a van with the laser on it? Like,
yes.
What kind of gear and processes do they need to put in place to support this? Just give us a walkthrough of like that end-to-end sales cycle to when it's, in place.
Okay, so there's two models. Sometimes government departments are not as nimble and agile as private organizations, which is normal. We would try to adapt our solutions to however is workable for them, because ultimately we're a solutions provider and we want to make money, right? So we want to sell our products and solutions. We're not just selling the physical hardware; it's the whole solution combined. If they are willing to do the complete solution, then great. If they're not, then we're willing to do a hybrid solution because ultimately the receiver and the transmitter can be attached to other machinery or devices. That's not our preference, because then it's not as efficient because of the design that we do in-house to do so. So that's a conversation that will be entirely on a case-by-case basis.
And can you walk us through? I know you mentioned this is a huge cost savings for government agencies that may choose to use this, or other departments. What does that cost savings actually look like? Like, what are they're already using drones and things of that nature now? What are they saving on?
Okay, great question, Jill. So the real constraint in aero systems right now is power, right? So helicopters is constrained by fuel. Drones are constrained by batteries, and in the Impulsor S drone, we're not constrained by anything, right? Nothing. Okay, Roman here. So
Roman with the quick info.
Doesn't allow me to talk. This guy
Couldn't help himself.
What we're saying is like the drones are 6 days airborne, 1 day for maintenance, for example. Helicopters is 4 hours only, right? So the drone would be costing roughly $200,000. A helicopter would cost $7 million upfront, and you need crew. So a lifetime drone fleet will cost about $3 million, and a helicopter fleet with all the crew and everything all combined would be about $1.2 billion, as Roman correctly mentions here. So 5 S drones simultaneously happening using right now would replace 17 helicopters, right? So wow. It's silent, it's autonomous, zero emissions. I think at the beginning, one of the downsides of this is people still might not be so comfortable with drones running around the city, thinking that, it's Big Brother spying on us. So that's one thing that is a potential con. I don't just want to talk about the pros, but like cars when horses were around, like mobile phones replacing the landline, like the internet, like webcams, like cameras, like meta glasses, every new technological advance will take time for people to accept and acknowledge. But once this is done, then people accept it. Like the robots at the beginning, we thought it was a complete scary thing. Now you see a robot on the street, no one's scared anymore, right? And it will continue. So Terminator is coming.
I will ask Roman engineering related questions, but I want to understand the full system here. So we have the ground unit, the laser shooting up to the Fortitude engine, which is on the S drone.
Yes.
And how much of the engineering or like kind of the S drone itself is built out, or is there another provider that specializes in drone development? Like the drone shown here, for instance, like, is that a final product that's been built and engineered, or is that just kind of a concept as the drone itself, and the engine you're focused on?
It will look like this.
Okay, cool.
This is the design.
Like that right there?
Yeah, exactly. Right here, right
wow.
now.
Okay,
so
cool.
What will happen is it's a combination of our own parts and also parts that we have to buy from third-party suppliers. And some of these third-party suppliers will become partners.
Wow.
And I'm trying to...
Yeah, go ahead, Don.
I totally interrupted. And I'm trying to picture this, like bring this image to life. So we see right here, there's like some sort of, tanker car, big car riding around with a laser on top that's powering these drones. In a big city with sky rises, like, is it gonna be difficult to get this drone to connect to, or the laser to connect to a drone when there's things blocking it? Like, how does this practically work?
Okay, great question. So first of all, when you see, like right now, where you see there in the desert or in the sea, generally when the laser shoots, as long as it's in line of sight, it can charge the drone. Okay. Now, exactly your question. Let's say like New York or LA, which is LA is probably not as dense as New York. Like let's say New York, Hong Kong, where the buildings are very close to each other. What will end up happening is Roman will do a much better job in explaining this. But what will end up happening is you're going to have swarm of drones together that will be able to power one off another. So basically, because ultimately they also need the transmitter also needs to get energy feed from something else, another power source, because we are not an energy creator. We're just an energy transferer. So what that means is, let's say this drone is the main one. We can have smaller drones that end up following it and shooting the laser to power the bigger one. And then the small ones would end up then keep on recycling and energizing each other. And then new drones from the home base will come back to keep charging and then take over.
And these,
Got
we Roman and I. So if you want to go watch the last thing with Roman and I, go that. Also, his engineering prowess will be on Thursday talking about this. But to your high level engineering kind of understanding here is the thrust is created through superheating the air, it expanding and going out a nozzle. So it's kind of like a rocket engine in that sense, but it's not a chemical reaction. Versus like, you know, it having an onboard motor like an FPV drone and running like a little electric engine, right? It's the latter. It's the first version.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I would love to talk a bit about the money. That's what the people want, and
we want to know about the money. Yeah.
So where do you expect the money to come from? Is this going to be mainly government contracts? Who is like the buyer? Obviously, we talked about the LAPD a bit, maybe not them specifically, but we've talked about a few different places that this could be applicable. But maybe talk about where the money's coming from. Are these government contracts? Are these private checks? Like, I don't know.
First of all, it'll be mainly government contracts, and it'll be like bigger Fortune 500 kind of companies that need this solutions. And then thereafter, once the technology becomes a lot more well known and accepted, and also we have other products coming not just from the industrial side but also from the consumer side, is when the name becomes a bit more well known and the technology is well accepted and working, then a lot of private companies and in the end, private consumers will be buying the products as well.
Is that what you're spending most of your day-to-day doing right now, is flying around, talking to people and like lining up buyers, or what's your current day-to-day looking like? Because you're all over the place.
So right now, Roman's obviously in charge of the R&D and the production side. We're in the midst of getting the Geneva lab sorted as an upgrade, which we're doing as we speak. I'm doing a lot more of the strategic partnerships in terms of partners that will become partners for us in terms of the suppliers of some of the parts. And then secondly, it's also not just myself. We also have a few other like directors like Tim, who's doing all the Life Finder stuff. And then I'm helping to also get to these government organizations to try to sign up the contracts. Some of them at the beginning may not be face to face, but they're Zoom or like Teams meetings where you keep on pushing forward the process.
And I guess one question that I had was just in reference to some of these conversations that you might have with different government agencies and departments. I mean, what are they most excited about? I mean, you covered the cost earlier, the cost savings. It's about 400x cheaper, this solution. You covered, how this can even work in a city like New York that's pretty dense with a lot of buildings and things of that nature. What are governments or what are customers really excited about?
The end user, you mean?
Yes.
Of course, because one, obviously cost savings, but two is the effectiveness and efficiency, right? Like I was mentioning before, the helicopter, let's say we're talking about like rescue, right? The pilots or the pilot or previous missions dictate of memory served by a human of how it gets there. With AI enabled, what we're able to do is the recognition of patterns and the behavior will help to become a lot more powerful in terms of prevention. And it's not just reactive, but it ends up becoming proactive and maybe changing behaviors and stopping accidents from happening in the first place. So this is one of the most powerful uses of AI, which we'll make use of. I mean, if you guys remember, Chamath mentioned that refrigeration, the guys who invented refrigeration didn't actually make so much money. The guys who actually ended up making money was Coca-Cola, because they ended up selling the product using refrigeration. Now, AI is obviously very important. We are not an AI company per se, but having power and AI requires a lot of power. What we're able to do is to redefine and solve the power problem. And if you utilize and combine this with AI, this makes it a very, very strong and robust solution that not just a government agency, but any company or even private citizen will be able to make use of at a later stage.
Can we talk more about the feedback you've gotten? Obviously, you've had a lot of these conversations. What's been
Yes.
some of the good, some of the bad? What are they looking for from you guys? What do you need to, I don't know, change or adjust? Can you help me understand that?
Sure. So people keep asking, is anyone else doing this? There are people doing different aspects of what we're doing. No one's doing a combined full solution that we are from an autonomous infrastructure, right? That's one. Two is there's a lot of concern on two things. One is regulation, and then two is safety. So obviously the laser part, which Roman can talk a lot more about, is obviously you can't have laser beams firing off everywhere because that's obviously dangerous. But the RF and the magnetic resonance are safe and already CE compliant. So regulation is important. And this is why when we first of all deal with government agencies, having these conversations, showing them the demonstrations and the safety aspect, getting their blessing and comfort and the license to do so, that will give credibility and comfort to the public that this is possible. So these are the two things. And ultimately what it is similar to AI and robotics, like I said before, which is when people are not aware or know the capabilities of certain products or technology, they tend to be in fear. People are in fear of the unknown. So one of our biggest tasks, at least my job, is that's why I've been so active on social media, is because we need to educate not just the X audience, but it gives me practice to educate everyone involved, from the government agencies to the end users, to investors, and to the partners and the JV guys, because not a lot of people know about this, at least in the mainstream. But this business has been going on for a long time, and hopefully we're the first ones to really take this mainstream so that every Joe Blogs on the street knows about this.
I have oh, sorry, Dom, finish your line of thinking.
Yeah, and is this like a domino effect in your mind? You see, let's say, take the LAPD or any city police department, they use this technology. Does it cause a domino effect where everyone starts adopting it, or how do you like see this playing out in real time? What's your vision maybe for that?
Yes, correct. So, the top few cities we will be aiming for would be LA, New York, Tokyo, Dubai, London, maybe even Hong Kong, where they're very dense cities that need more monitoring, more help with lesser costs, because we're always complaining inflation, police, they don't have enough money. So we're offering a solution that which is relatively much cheaper, that will be able to help these departments, right? Now, once you've closed one contract, the second, third, fourth will be much easier, because then say, hey, LA's doing it, then there's a lot more comfort that somebody's doing it. So our greatest difficulty at the beginning will definitely be getting the first contract, because no one wants to be the first guinea pig.
On that, what does a contract size look like? Maybe from from an initial contract size to then what it would scale out to full in scale service.
Hopefully, from what we want, I mean, obviously they might want to just test one set of drones, one team of drones. Ultimately, if we're able to do it, we will be charging like a few million a year contracts per city.
Okay, so per contract, a few million for like a initial kind of testing and kind of piloting, let's say pilot program.
Correct. And obviously, if we're able to conduct more cities and more departments, we're able to like lower the costs and get more and more customers involved. And hopefully, I mean, imagine we don't even charge that much and we just end up being in every single city or little town in America.
Yeah. And
it would be huge.
Yeah, I mean, it would be massive, a little bit massive.
A little bit massive.
So I guess what I was going to say is like this video right here showing this laser system on a truck. The drone you said is in various stages, or it's being built, or it's been built. I'm just trying to understand like how, if I were LA today and I said, yes, Patrick, we love this, I want to do a pilot, when's the earliest I would have the hardware physically arriving to actually implement and test this out?
So basically, we're already in the process of building it. The first demo, real one ready, will probably be in February. Nice. I don't know what the time is exactly. Let's say the LAPD, for example, orders it, like when can we actually deliver 10, 20 drones to them? I don't know the answer to that. That's a question that Roman will probably be in a better position to answer. But
Would you guys have to scale up operations if that happens? Hey, we want 10.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
One of the other expansion plans and the busyness for 2026, which is less traveling, is we need to like up the game in terms of people and also the lab space and also the partners in order to to produce the products.
I want to touch on that a little bit. You guys have secured some really, really big partnerships already to date. Maybe talk a bit about partnerships you've secured to date, and then how you plan on expanding, or what your thoughts are there, who you've been talking to, just anything to give us a fuller picture.
So right now, the only one I can really disclose is LifeFinder officially. And then secondly is we have a few professors and doctors who are consultants and working with us. In terms of the companies that we're signing with, we're going to have more news in January. And one of the big missions for me in January is to go to the US and seal this deal that we will announce again, hopefully exclusively on MCG Live.
Ooh, so there's something cooking in the US here.
Correct.
The firm that was doing the Massimo, I forget it again, the name, Massimo. I believe. Are they working on the components for this product, or is that for something else?
That's for Fortitude and other parts. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Interesting. Going back to something you said during the video, you said obviously these are endurance drones. They last for a long time. I think you said ideally they'll go 6 days up and then 1 day down for maintenance, and that's what a full week looks like.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And so if they wanted to be, I mean, I'm not sure what situation you would need drones up for more than that, but like what happens if someone wants a drone up for, 14 days straight? I think you have even mentioned you guys would really like.
You just have 2 teams or 3 teams.
Okay. So you take down one drone and 2 others go up.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
It depends on what it ultimately at the end, the government department, let's say LAPD, they will have to decide what they want to do. We're not going to tell them what to do, right? Obviously. So if they want 10 drones, 20 drones patrolling 24/7, 365 days a year, we will do that for them.
Yeah.
But it won't be a day off because we can't do it. It's just a matter of capital. If they pay us enough, then we'll make it happen.
And what we see around the world now is there's drone teams are kind of meshed together and are flying these things concurrently. So they might have like a spotter drone in, and then they have like 3 or 4 drones, some of them sitting by like a roadside, for instance, waiting for something to happen. Then they fly up and go do something.
Exactly.
But this is just like how we see it, not even, I won't say the applications that these are being used in, but in various different applications. It's like we're going to a future where drone persistence is going to be 24/7, 365 coverage, and the feeds and the data coming in is going to flip through, and it's going to be piloted by AI, and it's just going to be consistent, persistent drones all the time. That's just the future.
I would just like say, kind of condense today's chat, right? So imagine Impulsor is the grid, the S drone is the light bulb, and AI is the smart switch. That's how the layers are for what we're trying to do here.
That makes sense. Also talking about as we go to market here, the products are in the final stages of being ready to release. Maybe some are ready. I'm not sure exactly where all of them are. You have 6 products. As we go to market here, hopefully we're expecting some inbound demand, and you guys are thinking about scaling up. Are you planning on doing rounds, raising more money? Like, is that something you guys have thought about internally? I remember our first discussion, you said, we don't need money. We have plenty of funding, but obviously the more money helps always. So maybe thoughts there.
Yeah, I think right now we are not planning for the time being. We're always open because if certain orders come in and we need to do it, then we might need bigger space, more people, more equipment, and so forth. But if we play our cards right, we should be able to get the orders in, and that will have a lot of cash flow coming in, and then we don't really need to raise any more funding. 26 is a big build year for us.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, ideally, you retain as much equity as possible. So, that's the goal. All right. Well, That's that's a lot of cool stuff, Patrick. Every time you come on here, we get some pretty interesting conversations going. So I don't know, Josh or Chill, you guys have anything left? I think we kind of covered this update.
No, I think we covered it really well. I mean, look, congrats on the progress made so far. Huge start to 2026. I think you timed it perfectly. Wrapping up the holidays and bringing this out at the beginning of the new year. So appreciate you coming on as always, Patrick. It's always a pleasure.
Maybe before you leave, Patrick, I want to just give you the floor. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about, but final thoughts. And yes, as Chill mentioned, really appreciate it. We enjoy these conversations as always.
Love you guys very much. I'm just going to close off with this line, which is AI will be everywhere. Power will decide who wins. Impulsor solves power permanently.
Banger. Mic drop, and he can just leave. No, I actually what was I gonna say too? I forgot.
Nothing to say after that.
Nothing to say. Yeah,
Mic drop
once you mic drop, you just gotta do it.
Yeah,
But
love it, Patrick. Thank you.
Guys,
Yeah,
good
Patrick.
night and Happy New Year. Wish everyone listening and catching up later a very happy New Year. 2026 will be very peaceful, prosperous, and hope everyone's happy and make as much money as possible.
Love
That's
it.
right.
Don't worry, we'll squeeze the alpha. We'll squeeze the alpha out of Roman. So
Yeah, please do squeeze more about him. Give me an easier ride.
yeah.
Oh, I do remember what I was gonna say, and,
Okay.
and I'm sure you're aware of this, Patrick. But like the people here listening, they're so concerned with financials, money. Are we getting contracts in? Are we signing deals? Is the business growing? Are we headed in the right direction?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have anything on that. Again, like we're about to get into the go-to-market stage, into the acceleration stage. You said 2026 is a big building year. But I don't know. I think from our perspective as investors and a lot of the people listening to it, like that's something we're very keen to see is the product come to life and the some contracts starting to get signed. So like, I don't know if there's a timeline or anything you want to say on that.
There
but
is, sure. If you guys looked at the X account of Impulsor, the official account, I think it was the last day of the year, should be the 31st of December. I think it's pinned now. And we've done this kind of like summary of what's happened since we started. And it tells you like who we are, what we've done. And then we've kind of like put in like different interviews from Impulsor, from Meteora, MetDabbie and different things and the product. And what we've decided to do is, to answer your question directly, is every month, at the end of the month, we'll do a summary, and that will also include the contracts, the financials, and some of the stuff that a lot of people would be interested in. So be patient. We just need January to get these orders and contracts signed. And once we do have news, one is we'll be tweeting it, and then two is every month we'll have a nice summary like what you're showing here on the screen. And then some people, instead of being DGen, people just scrolling nonstop for news, this is a good summary for people to know what we're doing and who we are.
That's great. I think the question is, how can we properly value this company? And that's what we're always trying to find on this show, and what everyone that's investing is trying to find. So having like a financial review monthly is that's a nice gesture.
We will try to do that. I think also another more, I think we have spoken about this offline, which is hopefully myself can help, which is, I think, I've been in TradFi for such a long time where I know back to front how to value companies and where the trends and how to make money from investment, right? Now, what we're doing here in the ICM Launchpad, which is a relatively new thing, or the concept to me is actually quite an old concept, but it hasn't been done successfully yet. I keep regurgitating what I keep saying, which is there has to be a day where people from the Web3 space, can they actually understand how you value a Web to a traditional investment company, right? And what you see on ICM now is not a proper reflection of how the business really is. And that's something that needs a bit of education, because a lot of people who are in, for example, crypto and ICM, they might not be in the traditional finance sector that I have been. So their training and their knowledge and exposure to what traditional finance, looking at the balance sheet, the P&L, how the numbers work, and then especially if you go capital markets to Wall Street, the valuations has different ways of valuing the companies and models. Whereas in the crypto world, it's all about, hey, it's worth $5 now, it's going down, it's going up, and people don't really understand how making money in the real world, how does that reflect into your price? And that's something that needs a bit of education and discussion.
Yeah, we totally agree. Nonetheless, it's fun to speculate, and this is one that we're enjoying speculating on. So, Patrick, as always, it's a pleasure. We got Roman coming on Thursday, as he just said.
Yes.
Looking forward to that conversation. So we'll squeeze him for all the alpha.
Yeah, guys, make sure you hit up MCG with questions too that you want answered. Please message us. We'd love to see them. I know Moru too is also in Japan and is deeply excited about what you're doing. I've seen his threads as well.
Maru too is a big fan. Shout out to you. We would love to get NTT Mitsubishi, or if you have any leads in Japan that you want to get involved with us, please DM Roman or I or MCG. We'll be very happy to have a conversation, Maru, too.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yep. The token holder sales force is real. It can be real. So hopefully it bears fruit.
Of course.
Sang mode.
Sang mode.
Thanks, Jill. Thanks, Dom. Thanks, Josh. We'll see you very soon. And be safe, everyone. Make more money.
Go.
Take care.
Let's go.
Thanks,
you.
Patrick.
See you,
Take care.
Patrick.
Always
All right.
a fun conversation.
Yeah, what a legend.
Can we
Remember,
watch the
guys.
video again?
Yeah, we can. Remember, guys, Thursday is the engineering focus where we get into the nitty gritty around how these products actually work. That was the business/announcement segment with CPT.
Let me let me pull that video up one more time, because I don't think I got a good chance to react with my full energy, because that video was sick. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see.
We were trying to
Dude,
keep
this
it
video-
respectful while he's on here.
No, this
But-
video was so tough, bro. I love the symbolism of the swift bird built for endless flight. That was it.
Feel it in my chest. This is cool.
Sick video. I'm not sure if you guys know what Arrakis is from the movie. Not sure if you guys noticed the black and white to color here. I didn't even pick that up the first time.
Yeah. So that part where it went from like black and white to color, the music changed too. Like that for me was like the part at the beginning where I was like, let me put my mic on mute before I start yelling.
Dude, this video goes hard here. We'll see the change of color. I didn't even pick that up the first time. Oh, dude, you're right. Goosebumps. Dude, that is so sick. It that gets you going, gets you fired up.
Dude, I don't know, man. Look, we say in crypto that we want, like, great technology, we want good teams, we want innovation. Like, this is like the pinnacle of that. I'm not sure what else or what other technology or what other, I don't want to say crypto project because it makes it sound more informal than it actually is, but who is doing this? Who else is doing it like this?
This is the speculation crypto wants, man.
Call of Duty score streak.
Yeah, right. Call it in, dude. Call in the UAV.
Bro, that told me a lot about King's mentality right there. I love it. NW2, let's go. Yeah.
Let's go. But sick video, dude. I mean, look, it's like if this comes to life, that's why, like I said, this is like the speculation crypto loves, because it's a big, like, if this happens, then we're rich. but dude, it's so fun to do. Nonetheless, you guys want to get into some more updates we were talking about?
Yeah, let's do it. I know we had a few more tickers to run through.
I'll let you kick us off. I gotta go hit the potty real quick.
Well, I guess first thing I'll hit is I'll just kind of go switch back to macro just for a quick brief moment because your boy here was actually pretty on point with this. So I drew out this green box. We're already getting a reaction from it. So things are looking good here on Bitcoin. Like I don't know what we do here. I'm not sure if I don't think we like, V shape up. I would love to kind of see us consolidate here, maybe tag this and then go up. Kind of finish out the rest of the week consolidating a bit before we go higher. That's ideally what I would want. I think if we do this, on chain just goes nuts. Like on chain just runners start running, things of that nature. So yeah, looking good there. But yeah, that's market overall is feeling a lot different. I'm not sure if you guys feel the vibe shift, but I feel it as well. I don't know if you guys saw Avicii as well. Let me I think Avicii was actually making some decent progress. We saw CPT make a nice little move higher here during the interview. I guess the markets love it. Let me look at Avicii here real quick because Avicii was actually making some moves up 25% on the day. And we were talking about this yesterday, but this
Oh,
kind of
dude, look at that zone.
yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. Nice clean SR flip on Avicii. Welcome back, the homie Dom. But yeah, we nice SR flip on Avicii, and I think this just goes higher from here, in my opinion. I don't like we've covered this on stream. I believe it was perhaps our first stream back. A lot of people were kind of like doubting Avicii because of this like price action that we saw. A lot of people were like right here. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, we lost this support area. This is terrible. Like neobanking narrative is no longer a thing." Not realizing that it doesn't really matter if it's a narrative. Like it's an ownership token, one that the holders have uh overall exposure to. And like we covered on Monday, the team just came out with their plans as far as when they'll get paid. They don't get paid until we sustain a much higher market cap than we have today. So I think a lot of the emotions, people, the price action was playing with people's emotions, especially in this region here. And as usual, here we are on MCG telling you guys don't listen to your emotions, buy the freaking dip. And here we are, 24%, 25% up. All right, it's probably even a little bit more. We mentioned this, believe it was just a couple days ago on the 4th, I believe. But yeah, up a nice little, 30, 40%. But I think we have much higher to go on Avicii. I think you're muted, Dom, the homie.
Oh,
Brody.
dude.
There we
Maybe
go.
StreamYard changed because we had a few people muted at the start of the stream today. I think you have to physically click it. Nonetheless, what do we think about the Ranger Finance ICO through MetaDAO? Have you guys been paying attention to that at all, or not?
No,
much
actually, I haven't. Let me check here. Let me take a look. Do you have it pulled up?
No, but in the meantime, I do have some info on all the previous raises. Right, so this guy Guarvo put together all the raises and tells us how much they raised and stuff like this. We talked a bit about it yesterday, right? But maybe we'll look through these. I don't have an opinion. I haven't really done a deep dive into Ranger Finance yet, so I wish I could tell you guys more, but I just don't. So that being said, I'll read through this. Some interesting stuff. So he found the oversubscription numbers for some of the projects on MetaDAO. Uber Privacy raised $3 million at 8.55 million valuation with a token price of 0.30 at the ICO. Minimum raise amount was 750K. There was 155 million in total deposits from over 10,500 people, which is 51x oversubscribed. Participants received 2% of their allocation. This is the number we're going to focus on. And let's see if there's a pattern here. So Umbra, people got 2% of their allocation. Avicii raised 34, which is 9.7% oversubscribed. So they received 10% of their allocation here. So 155 was the biggest raise. Then Avicii 34.2. Loyal had 75 million in total deposits, 30x oversubscribed. Participants received 1.3 to 3.3% of their allocation. ZK Soul, one that hasn't actually had a lot of buzz. We got to get them on here, but they had 15 million total deposits, 15x oversubscribed. They raised 970K at a 1 million valuation with a token price of 0.097. The minimum was 300K. So 15x oversubscribed, 6.5% of participants received an allocation, or you received 6.5% of your allocation, excuse me. Paystream, total deposits nearly 6.5 million, 9x oversubscribed. Participants received about 11 to 12% of their raise. And then Solomon Lab, this raised 102 million in total deposits and about 7.8% of their allocation. So that's interesting. We have not seen someone basically receive more than 12% of their allocation. So I guess the rule of thumb here, and of course this is not gospel. I would say like you have to do some sort of thinking. If there's only, if they're only meeting the minimum of the raise, they're not going to oversubscribe it 50%. You're not going to only receive 10%. You're going to receive 100% likely. But I think the rule of thumb here is if you want to get a full fill, you're going to have to go like 9x over what you actually want to receive, right? Because you're probably going to receive at max, 10, maybe 20%, which I don't know. These are just pretty interesting numbers. What do you guys have any thoughts about that? Because I know Ranger is doing something to counteract this a little bit with their raise.
Honestly, no in-depth thoughts. Haven't really
confluence to like concentration here though, because if Umbra they receive 2% of their allocation versus something like Avicii where it's 10%, does that mean like only the whales got the tokens out of the Umbra raise versus the Avicii was a little better distribution?
I would say the whales probably benefited the most because
if you're only getting 2%, you got to be you got to be putting in like 100K to get 2K.
Yeah, that's
right.
Like
right. You got to put $1 million to get 20 million.
That's
right.
Rough.
If you're putting
$1 million to get 20 million,
or $1 million to put in to get 2 million, right? Or $1 million to get 20,000.
20.
Sorry. So it seems like the only people that got in there are the max. I don't want to say max extractors, but the people with capital. You could either say, oh, those are maybe long-term institutional capital, or they're kind of like mercenary whales type.
Yeah, dude. That's the conversation that people have been having about MetaDAO. It's like, well, my $10,000 doesn't get me anything. Like I don't get anything for it. Or my 20, like whatever it is, you get nothing. So that's been the conversation.
Not trying to like put down MetaDAO or anything like that, but I think not saying anything bad, I'm just saying that there is a price discovery component of it that's a little bit different. Like people are used to like pump fund where like, it's like coming from essentially zero market cap and going crazy. And I think that's a part that MetaDAO doesn't have. I think actually it's a good thing because it eliminates a lot of different factors. But because of that, there's not that like, oh my gosh, 100K to 10 mil, 100x opportunity that people kind of want. But it does keep holders safe, and it's actually much easier to trade. So not a bad thing about MetaDAO, but I think that's also something that people take into consideration. But in regards to how much you get from a raise, that's why I kind of don't participate in raises. You guys know this from Avicii to Solo to Umbra. I don't think we didn't cover the Umbra raise, but the other two, our strategy has been wait until. Oh, we did. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So wait until it's done, wait for the dump, and then buy the dip, and then off to the races. That's kind of been the strat here. And honestly, I think it's made for a great trade almost every single time.
Yeah. I mean, here I got the MetaDAO thing pulled up so we can actually see there's already been a 1.23 million committed. And again, we've seen it every single time. The commits don't come in till the last days when we'll get an overflowing amount, because that's when people have a better idea of how much they're going to get. Now, with Ranger here, maybe we'll read a bit about it if you guys want to get a quick. I'm going to try to keep it short for everyone, but quick idea. Crypto has a fragmentation problem rather than liquidity problem. Chill and I have had deep conversations about this. Roughly 50 billion in daily derivative volumes now trade across Solana, Arbitrum, and Hyperliquid. Yet outside of Ranger, most trading platforms still lock each order into a single venue. This fragmented liquidity worsens execution quality and ultimately leads to a worse experience for traders. Fragmented markets are in a reality in TradFi, CFI, and DeFi. Aggregators at the application layer delivers better execution and an industry-leading user experience. This is why we've built Ranger around two core pillars: aggregation and the application layer. Ranger launches a traditional terminal with the first perps aggregator on Solana, quickly integrating all major venues on chain. Since then, we've added support for Hyperliquid and spot trading via Titan Exchange. So it's a trading terminal. Today, Ranger remains the only application where perp traders benefit from a true multi-venue routing and improved execution at the order level. Interesting.
So perps exchange aggregator.
It seems. At the core of Rangers are smart order router. Yeah, so it routes to maybe the best exchange. It scans integrated venues in real time, evaluates liquidity depth, integrally splits large orders, and executes at the best available global price. Okay, it's good. This app is still early in its roadmap, and we're not yet at the end state where we're confident we can deliver the best-in-class experience as we integrate a new perp venue into most execution further and ship new features and product lines that move Ranger towards its goal of becoming DeFi's command center. This ICO is to expand the team's capacity and increase velocity at which we build the long-term vision. We see MetaDAO, blah, blah. So ICO structure, they're raising 6 million minimum. They're allowing 250K monthly allowance. So they got a 250K burn. That's a pretty fat burn rate there. Ranger points hold a preference for capital committed to the ICO. This is where things change a little bit from the typical ICOs you see on MetaDAO. Ranger points hold a preference for capital committed to the ICO. So if they're taking 8 million max and a minimum 6 million, and they go over the 8 million, let's say they have 100 million in commits, it seems like the points holders will have preferential treatment in terms of who gets allocation. Not sure how that will work, but it's going to change the dynamic a little bit. This is represented pro rata across all points holders, and then excess is filled pro rata by non-points committees. Additional details can be reviewed here. We're not going to go through it. I'm sure that's a long breakdown, but that's interesting. Bid program exists for any funds accepted in excess of the minimum goal 6 million. This program will accept tokens at ICO price minus any spend for a period of 90 days or excess, or until the excess is exhausted. The tokens exchange will be burned. Do you guys can you guys help me understand this a little bit?
Let me see. Can you zoom in just real quick?
Yeah. Bid program exists for any funds accepted in excess of the minimum, so anything over 6 million. This program will accept tokens at ICO price minus any spend for a period of 90 days or until the excess is exhausted.
Wait. The program. So
Isn't
is it
this
saying
like
that,
a buyback kind of program at the ICO price?
or is it that people can like trade back in their tokens for
this program will accept tokens at ICO price minus any spend for a period of 90 days.
Like I participate in the raise and I like 30, 60, 90 days later, I say, I don't really like this anymore. I can give it back to them for the ICO price.
Okay, that's super.
Minus their treasury burn, is what I understand from the tokens.
So 250K a month. So minus 1,250,000. Right.
The way I'm reading is anyone who doesn't want the token up until 90 days after, their tokens will be burned.
Their tokens will be burned and they'll get their money back. That's really interesting, actually, which makes it like almost, if I'm understanding this correctly,
risk-free.
Very low risk. Very low risk.
Yeah, not risk-free, but yeah.
This was a problem, I think, with the solo ICO is they had a successful ICO, and then right after the markets dumped, and then people looked around for liquidity. And so then they were selling spot solo below the ICO price. And so then it was trading at a discount. I guess what these guys are doing is saying, hey, we'll have a facility there to soak up those tokens and kind of put a floor in. That's what I'm assuming.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So low risk here. We'll have to cover that. We have them coming on the last day of their raise. Something we'll definitely have to cover. Maybe we'll even get a little clip here to go out. I'll just go over this again for the clip's sake. Here we go, guys. So here are the ICO structure for the next MetaDAO raise. We got Ranger Finance. They're going to do a 6 million minimum raise. They're allowed 250K monthly spend, right? So they got a burn of 250K. And they will also have preferential treatment to their Ranger points holder via a pro rata split here. So if you have Ranger points, you actually will have a higher likelihood of getting filled based on how much points you hold pro rata. So really interesting there. And then most interesting, this is the first time we've seen something like this for a MetaDAO project. They have what's called a bid program, which exists, and basically up to 90 days after the ICO, it seems you can exchange your Ranger token for the same price you bid it at for the ICO. So assuming price goes below what the token ICO'd for, you can actually go and exchange that token back for equal ICO price. And I'm wondering if there will actually be some sort of arbitrage here. Of course there will be. People will say, hey guys, price is below the ICO. I'm going to go and exchange my tokens back to the team and then buy the same amount on the open market. The only caveat here is, of course, they have the 250K burn. So that's 250K a month, which is going to be 750K. I messed up my math earlier because I'm an idiot, but basically over 90 days, it'll burn 750K. So based on the burn, you can only turn in the token minus what's being burned. So I would just imagine that's just at a pro rata level. So interesting stuff here from Ranger. We're going to have them on Friday, I believe it is, to talk a bit about what's going on at the very last day of the raid. So that's interesting, but cool. Wanted that clip, but that's a really unique thing they got going on here. It'll be cool to see that play out in real time. It makes me interested in bidding. I have to look more into this. What do you guys
Side
think?
note, that's a good clip. But yeah, no, I actually like that. I actually really like that. It's the first time we've seen that ever. But it definitely lowers the risks when it comes to taking that trade.
Definitely allows for interesting price discovery. That's
Yes.
for sure.
And arbitrage opportunity, like Dom was mentioning.
Yeah.
What happens after 90 days? Do we get a dump after 90 days?
Could be a trade to play around, could be something to play around.
Yeah, this is I gotta really read up on this. This is gonna introduce some new gamification to this ICO. That's like very interesting. Here, let's see. Token supply, total token supply 25,625,000. In existing investor allocation, 4 million of that 25 will be for existing investors with a 24-month linear vest. That's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. Team performance package, 7,600,000 with an 18-month cliff. And of course, they only get this 7,600,000 at certain levels, unlocked with 3-month drop at a 2x, 4x, 8x, 16x, and 32x ICO price. So they have to meet these goals. Otherwise, the 7.6 million tokens for the team will never be unlocked. Ambassadors, which I love the aligned incentives. MetaDAO does align incentives very well, like undeniably very well, in terms of ownership over the treasury and then stuff like this where the team won't even get tokens until they meet goals. Ambassadors and ecosystem partners, 768,750. 25% is immediately unlocked with the remaining 25% in a 6-month linear vest. The remaining supply is provided in liquidity provision with a 20% of funds raised and 2 million tokens placed in the future Futarki AMM and 900K tokens placed in a single-sided liquidity. 20% of the raise is going to, the AMM, of course, which makes sense. But I wonder what if like everyone wants a refund and then they have 20% in the liquidity? Do they have to start draining liquidity? I don't know exactly how this works. I'd have to read up, I think, into this a little bit more.
I guess good questions to ask too during the interview.
Do they talk about anything about business metrics around the
No.
product? Is there volume or anything, revenues? Or
No,
anything?
I
these
believe
are great questions.
I believe there was some sort of beta that was out, and I believe there was like a core group. Let me actually look at this real quick. Yeah, but I think there was some sort of beta out at some point.
Yeah, these are questions we need to know. We need to know on our interview with them: numbers, how many users, what kind of volume, how much they're taking from this, maybe profits and revenue, I think will all give us a more rounded answer if this is investable or not. But
Yeah, bro. They were so they hit me up in February 2025 is when they first, so yeah, February 2025. They've been like, building, integrating, and testing for like pretty much most of 2025, I would say. So
let's see if we can find anything on their Twitter. And guys, this is just like live due diligence with you. Again, going to this, we had very little information. But what do you think about the product itself? It's like you said, a perps aggregator, basically gives you the best fills, splits your orders if you need to in a few different ones. I mean, I think it's smart. I'm wondering if anyone else does
I honestly love it. I honestly love it. I hope they have Solana native deposits turned on upon launch. But I think that an aggregator has a place in the world, in my opinion. And being able to find the best prices, I think that's. Will it dominate, over something like Hyperliquid or some of these other perp platforms? I think that remains to be seen, but I think the angle at which they're coming from as far as aggregation and finding the best prices, I think that's a moat that only that's a moat for them, so.
The biggest thing is convenience, right? People want convenience. Lots of people aren't going to go from their main Hyperliquid platform to another platform because it gives them a very small fee reduction. So the question is, can Ranger Finance make it convenient enough and make sure you actually save enough or you actually have better fills enough to the point where they're willing to go onto a completely different platform to trade their perps rather than what they're used to? Because we know people love convenience and they're willing to sacrifice a bit of margins for that convenience. Can Ranger save you enough margins to make it valuable to go to their platform? That's the question. But yeah, you're right. I think especially for the power users, it would make sense to go and use something like Ranger.
They have it looks like a yield token, RGUSD, and I'm wondering if that is a stable coin and the yield is generated, I guess, from trading fees.
A liquid yield-bearing token that earns boosted yield on top of the highest leading lending rates on Solana, powered by Elemental DeFi. As we launch in beta, RGUSD minting is capped at 1 million. I'm gonna have to say that I'm not. Yeah, what is this? Where does yield come from? Base auto routes liquidity across Camino, Drift, and Jupiter land to sit in the highest yielding pools. Oh, okay. So I'm assuming you have your USDC on this platform. And while it's sitting there, before you actually spend it, I'm assuming they actually just route it through providers like Camino, Drift, and Jupiter Lend to earn you a yield. But let me get some more info. Borrows against deposits, and deploys into delta neutral funding rate farming. We're seeing a lot of this funding rates strategies, passing extra yield back to RGUSD holders. Interesting. At launch, RGUSD is earning 8% APY. So this is actually pretty cool. Look, if you can hold your money in this platform, like holding your money in Hyperliquid, you're not earning any yield outside of course what you trade. With this, if you hold your money there simply, it should be earning yield. If I'm understanding that correctly, which is interesting, especially for power users again who have big money in there. Okay, is that what you guys are picking up on this?
Yeah, can you play that clip? There was maybe real quick. There was a clip at the top there of their founder at a breakpoint. I'm wondering if he says anything.
There is a whole YouTube video which we won't have time to play here,
but
we're
not going to go through that. But is there a cool clip here where he says something fascinating here?
No clips. We got to get him some clips. MCG will get them some clips, guys.
Breakpoint didn't get you clips, but MCG will.
MCG will, and they'll bang. That's for sure. All right. Full keynote here. Come on, load. Oh, it's only 5 minutes.
Welcome to Ranger, DeFi's command center. Rangers, thanks for reporting into Solana Breakpoint here in beautiful Abu Dhabi. In the next few minutes, Fatu will walk you through new integrations, like our yield token RGUSD, the Vault commanders joining the ranks, and how you now own a piece of Ranger. Even the camels have gathered for this one. They're very bullish creatures. Strap in, stay sharp, and remember, always ask where the yield comes from.
GM, everyone.
We're going to just watch this. It'll be 2.5 minutes.
All right, GM, everyone. I'm Fatu for Ranger.
Go for it.
For the past year, Ranger has been building DeFi's command center. What that means in practice is simple. One place to trade across all your favorite platforms instead of juggling between tabs, guessing where the liquidity is, and overpaying in slippage and fees. Today, Ranger is plugged into the venues everyone here loves on Solana: Drift, Jupiter, Flash, and most recently, Hyperliquid. But we really can't call ourselves DeFi's command center to stop here. Our goal is to give traders the best possible execution: lowest slippage, lowest fee, and the least price impact. And to do that better, we need more venues, which is why we're going back to our Solana's DeFi roots for our next 2 integrations: Pacifica and Bulk. Through Pacifica, users will earn extra Pacifica points when routing through Ranger. But we know more markets and incentives are never enough. Hence, we're taking it a step further. It's not enough to show you where to trade. We also need to help you put your capital to work. Today, I'm really excited to unveil Ranger USD, our yield-bearing token. If you're sitting in stables instead of chasing yield, you can just hold one token and let Ranger do the work. Under the hood, there are 2 parts: a base layer that spreads deposit across lending markets on Solana, and a boosted layer that runs delta neutral funding rate strategies. In the last 30 days, Ranger USD has outperformed the next best lending pool by 30%. And we're able to offer this because of our recent acquisition of Volta. We've been building Vault infrastructure the past 3 years. We've brought that plug into Ranger, and now
Of
we're using
who?
the same setup, not just for Ranger USD,
Volta.
but a whole lineup of
recent
different Vault managers.
acquisition of
Volta.
Vault right
Recently,
here.
we've onboarded Vectis Finance and Prime Number as new Vault managers on Ranger, bringing institutional grade strategies to everyone. It really has been quite a year for Ranger with Hyperliquid integration, Titan integration, and Ranger USD, amongst many other things. The last piece of the puzzle is who gets to own the DeFi command center. I'm really excited to share that we're ready to launch the Ranger token. And when we do, we want to do it right. And for us, the right place to do it is on MetaDAO, Futatio. We're raising a minimum of 6 mil through MetaDAO, the biggest minimum raise on MetaDAO yet. 40% of it will be supplied for the ICO and 12% for liquidity. For the team, it is split for 80 months together with a performance-based unlock that kicks in when Ranger trades at 2x multiples from the ICO price. And I know a lot of you have been asking, when token and when Ranger? Right now, we're waiting for MetaDAO audits to sign off on everything, because Ranger's ICO is more interesting than a standard sale. Firstly, we're giving point holders guaranteed allocation instead of a big day 1 airdrop. An airdrop might still happen, and more details on the airdrop proposal will be shared post-ICO. Secondly, MetaDAO is introducing a new buy wall mechanism designed to support the post-ICO market structure. So why should anyone care about
I
getting
like
in the sale?
no airdrop.
MetaDAO has probably built one of the cleanest launch tracks records this cycle. Recently, featured launches like Solo, Umbra, and Avicii have all traded up from the initial sale prices, in some cases way up. Ranger is next in the lineup. Ranger is live. Ranger routes real volume. Ranger has users, revenue, and now a token model that's designed to combine traders who route through Ranger, Vault managers who build on Ranger, and the community that's backing us from start. We're here to make Ranger the command center you want to own Ranger, own the command center, own DeFi. More details on the ICO will be revealed soon, and if you want to know more about the sale, our vaults, and how you can be part of Ranger, drop us a message and let's chat. My name is Fatu. Thank you everyone for listening.
Okay.
That was pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm glad we watched that. That's interesting. I think I'm more bullish on Ranger than I
I
originally
mess with it.
I haven't heard a lot of buzz on Ranger, like personally from the feed. I feel like we have MetaDAO raises and everything.
I have a
Yeah.
sense that I've seen this product before in a previous life, but I don't know if I'm getting deja vu or if it's just the branding. But
Ranger's been around for a while, but I feel like I haven't been hearing a lot in terms of, hey, this is the next raise. The big question that has been unanswered this entire time is how many users do they have? How much revenue are they making? But some really interesting mechanisms here. All right, I'm actually interested in this. So
Yeah, I'll be watching. I'll be keeping an eye on them. Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on them.
yeah, so it's an aggregator, but plus you keep your money on their platform. It looks like you have to swap to their stable coin though. So you would swap your USDC to Ranger USD, and you would hold it on their platform and trade with it. I would imagine obviously you can trade with it, and it's automatically routed through aggregators to earn you 8% APY is what they currently have.
yeah, there's so if you think about DEX aggregators, the fee model here is they take a small clip or get the referral fees from the underlying trading perps. The real value though is actually being in having the LP, having the liquidity pool where you can take kind of trader losses, which creates a big yield. Plus you get the front end trading volume fees. What's interesting about this in the RGUSD is they can also then clip fees. So they get the referral fees and then they can clip fees from that yield. Like an 8% yield, if you took 50 bips off that, that's a pretty sizable potential revenue stream.
We'll have to talk with them about this, but it's piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Any closing comments on the Ranger conversation?
I like the branding actually. Him coming out in army stuff. I thought that was pretty cool.
Branding sick.
I didn't even notice that. I didn't even notice that until you mentioned it.
On the topic of ICOs, have you guys seen Trove ICO? Again, one I have not really looked into much.
I've seen Trove around. All I know is that it's just like leverage, but I've seen a few people kind of bullish on it. This that prediction markets guy that we talked about earlier this week, Good. He's really, really bullish on Trove. And another homie of mine, man, I'm blanking out on his name. I'll get it here in a second. Cryptic, that's who it is. Cryptic also is bullish on Trove as well. So it's one I was keeping an eye on. I see that what's that guy's name? Cold Blooded Chiller. I see that he went on Thread Guy and he was talking about collectibles and things of that nature. So
just the other day.
Yeah, it's like yesterday or the day before. So I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm keeping an eye on it just to see how things are. But I don't know like anything, about like their raise when they launch and all that stuff.
I did reach out to them, so maybe we'll tag Trove because I would love to get them on the show because I think I'm sure the audience would love to hear it directly from the horse's mouth here, what they're building, what all the details. But yeah, they got 500. I mean, nearly 600K impressions. The raise, people have said it seems to be like a pretty good valuation here at 20 mil or like even on the low end. I was looking at some of their team members, and that's what they were saying. Yeah, so 32 billion in 24-hour volume from 15 billion in 2024. 16 billion. I don't know what this is in reference to, but 16 billion in open interest from 4 billion, 6 billion in TVL from 2 billion, 20 million in 24-hour protocol revenue from 3.5. Oh, for hype. Oh, is this owned by Hyperliquid? Is this owned by Hyperliquid?
Not that I heard. Is it?
I'm not sure, but I have seen a lot of team members talk about Hyperliquid, which is like, why would you talk about Hyperliquid if there's not some sort of affiliation there? Already invested in Trove, but I'll be participating in ICO as well. We had a crazy run of underwhelming ICOs lately. I just think you're looking in the wrong place. Next fucking thing. Is refreshing to see team raising a reasonable amount at a valuation that can actually make us money post TG. 2.5 million ICO raise at 20 million FDV, fully unlocked, feels pretty cheap. I can see upside for the ICO finally. I again want to see numbers here, but I've heard a lot about. I'm seeing a lot of buzz around Trove. Hopefully we can get them on. Yeah, so they've had $1 billion in total volume. Yeah, they use Hyperliquid. They definitely.
They use Hyperliquid, but not Hyperliquid owns them.
I don't know. I just see Hyperliquid here, so
got it.
Affiliated in some way, whether it's they're using him or if Hyperliquid owned them, that would be very interesting. Trove has 1 billion plus in trading volume across all markets. Thank you for. So it's pretty good volume. Pokemon cards and collectibles are illiquid. Trove market. Trove makes them liquid and able to trade anywhere. The future. Okay. Yeah, so it's RWAs, but they're ICOing too. I would say keep an eye on this one. We'll see. I got him on my list of things to watch. Hopefully we can get him on the show. Maybe you guys tag him and we'll get a full breakdown. But okay. Anything you guys want to cover? I have a few things, but I'll let you guys go. I've been spitting.
I'm looking, I'm scanning. Nothing that I nothing that I want to talk about. Remember D-Cloud we were talking about yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
That thing dumped. It's at like 50K market cap now.
No way.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because remember yesterday. So for anyone who wasn't here yesterday, we were kind of bearish on this thing called D-Cloud because they were comparing themselves to Kled. And obviously we know how hard Avi Patel is. Yeah, how hard Avi Patel has been working. And obviously no one, like, they're not standing up. They're not holding a candle to that. And lo and behold, today they are like at 50K market cap. Dump pretty hard.
Don't get trigger happy, guys. Don't get trigger happy. We're still not out of the woods yet. We need to until we're in a much better market. You can't be bidding just dog shit, to be frank.
Yeah, don't be bidding dog shit. All right, let's go through some charts we haven't covered yet in 2026. Virus has their new game out, and actually the chart looks pretty decent. Can we run through
here? Tuna just made a tweet. I can pull it up.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I can I'll pull the chart up once. Okay, I can pull the chart.
Pull the chart now. I'll have the tweet in a sec.
He's all in on Ponzi scheme.
He is, man.
Who, Tuna?
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. So let me put this on a weekly chart and see how this looks. Actually, not too bad on the weekly. But let's go down to the daily. Here we go. Yeah, it's not that bad. Let me just rechart this a little bit for you guys.
Here, I'll let you rechart. We can switch to my screen in the meantime.
Yeah.
At the stage. Okay. We built a $50 million Ponzi scheme. Every crypto app that found real PMF was a Ponzi. I just hate the verbiage around Ponzi's. Like, I don't want to be known as a Ponzi industry, frankly.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you might regret tweeting that specific line at some point.
I don't know.
but-
He's kind of taken this stance, I feel like, pretty
I think
hard.
it's an attention thing. Like it's that's a crazy first liner, right? That like
Yeah.
that captures attention. Yeah, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, all finance in some way, shape, or form is a Ponzi. All the if you look at the way that the financial system globally is built, and you know, it's all a Ponzi at a certain point. But
calling it is for what it is, I guess.
Calling a spade a spade. Fair enough.
But I like that first line though. Great first line to capture attention.
We built a $50 million Ponzi scheme. Every crypto app that found real PMF was a Ponzi.
Look what he wrote after. Not kind of, literally a Ponzi.
So
ICO, DeFi,
not for the clickbait.
NFTs, meme coins, DeFi food coins, Uniswap. Okay. Nonetheless, the biggest crypto apps ever were Ponzi games. Axie Infinity, STEPN, Friendtech. Okay, is he spitting, chat? But builders love to pretend this isn't true. VCs need to pretend this isn't true. He's kind of spitting though.
He's saying the quiet part out loud. That's what he's doing.
So instead they say, we're building a long-term product that are valuable to people, which usually means we're building things that sound intellectually cool, but nobody wants. We did the same thing. We wasted 4 years building intellectually cool products. DAOs, AI agents, games, ZK, TLS, ... Results. No users, no traction, no revenue. But 4 years was enough to make us realize who actually matters in crypto, degens and traders. For a long time, I looked down on meme coin traders and short-term speculators. That was a mistake. So we started talking to them and asked what apps they enjoy playing the most. Every answer had one thing in common. They were all powered by Ponzi mechanisms, NFT, SocialFi, minigames, meme coins. Everyone knew they ain't sustainable. Yet, they still love playing. So last year, we stopped lying to ourselves. We decided to build Ponzi's. Our first Ponzi was infected off fund exploded. No marketing budget, 130K signups in 48 hours, 1.4 million wallets played in a week. Then we shipped our second Ponzi, Addicted.Fun, a drug dealing simulator on Solana. Launch trailer hit 2 million views in 24 hours. Market cap hit 80 million in a day. Still one of I don't know if you guys remember that day, but that was wild.
Shout out Dom for the call.
Volumes.
Yeah, we had it like 1 or 2 million. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, should we buy this weed token?
Yeah.
And then bang, 80 million next day.
That was even shocking to me. 50 million trading volume in a few days. We made 4 million in revenue in 48 hours. Some light. For the first time, we made real revenue. And I've met 50 plus addicted fun players in person. Every single one of them told me the same thing. They genuinely had fun. I've heard different than that, to be honest, guys. I've heard
Yeah, I love Dom's honesty.
CT loves to say Ponzi's are bad. Stop lying. People love Ponzi's. Ponzi is actually really fun. You're just scared of FUD. The only rule is honesty. If you can call something long-term and ship a Ponzi, that's a scam. Axie and STEPN didn't fail because they were Ponzi's. They failed because they lied about it. Ponzi games are not sustainable. They are guaranteed to die. Be upfront about it. Say it's a Ponzi. Then people go nuclear and enjoy the ride. Also, the world is moving towards the same direction. People's brains are fried by short-form content. They need constant dopamine to function. Traditional entertainment isn't enough anymore. Dopamine runs the world now. What's next? Gamification of everything.
True.
Thing.
Very
Traditional
real.
gambling.
Very real.
It is real. Traditional gambling is heavily restricted. New generations can't access it. Crypto can. That's why prediction markets are exploding. Ponzi games are next, and they'll be much bigger. At PND, at Pandemics Labs, our goal is simple. Build the biggest Ponzi game on the internet, bigger than Axie Infinity. They did 1.5 billion in revenue in 2020, which is like insane to think about. They did 1.5 billion in revenue in 2021. Addicted.Fun was the biggest Ponzi of 2025. Our next Ponzi is coming, and it's going to be 10x bigger and better than Addicted. It's called Jail.Fun, a giga-ponzified prison life simulator. If you don't like Ponzi's, feel free to ignore this. But whether you like it or not, this trend won't stop. 2026 will be the year of the Ponzi. You are not ready.
That's crazy. That's great. I love it though. I love it. I love it.
I would like a Ponzi though that is at least interactive. That's like my genuine feedback. Jailed.fun was a very successful Ponzi, but I would like some more interactive nature to it. Like I want to gamify the Ponzi even more. I can go and buy stuff in game or do stuff in game where I'm moving around, actually interacting rather than just a static screen. Same thing, different version of the same thing. I just think it's much more sticky that way.
And with that, here's the chart.
So yeah, chart's just been in like a nice little accumulation zone here. I guess it kind of reacted to that post that he did. But I mean, this isn't a bad place to buy at the end of the day. Just looking at a trader's standpoint, from a trading mentality, we're down still well over 80% right now. We're down up to 90% from all-time high. Even from a recent high, we're still down like well over 50%, yeah, 60%, and then 80% at most from even the recent highs. So I mean, if there's this dynamic that's played with supply and demand like we saw in the last one, it doesn't matter what the market thinks, if it's a good thing or a bad thing, if Ponzi's are good or bad. It's still it's going to pump. That's just the nature of markets. So I think that's what happened here. That's what happened here is just that supply and demand, the way that worked, it just completely pumped the chart. So if there a similar mechanic can kind of be at play here, actually I want to see something real quick.
Also keep in mind he bought back or said 800K, I believe. 500K was used for buybacks from that strategic buybacks from that November to whatever period, or that October to whatever period. So I don't know how much they bought back in the end, but
I mean, this is pretty interesting right here. Let me see something real quick. It's kind of similar to this price action that played out at the beginning. That's kind of like playing out now.
It does resemble it.
Is that, am I the only one seeing that?
Oh, no, you're not. You're not.
So, there could be something in the works here. I think what would confirm it would be like a push above the top of the range, but yeah, it could be something in the works here. But we've seen this, according to this chart, both of these sides look very, very similar. So we'll see how it plays out.
Do we want to cover the Moby update, boys?
Yeah, let me pull up the Moby chart.
Moby's actually been looking pretty decent here.
Looking kind of nice as of late. Let's see here.
Disclosure, Moby is a sponsor, and we do hold some Moby. So I'll put that out there. But recent price action, someone's been bidding it up. I do keep an eye on the Moby chart, and if you scroll up there to get it in zoomed in, the last few 4-hour candles, someone has been bidding this to like from 4 mil to 6 mil for what it's worth.
Yeah,
they do have a percentage of profits, revenues going into token buybacks, if I remember correctly. So
yeah. And Mateus mentioned there's supposed to be a dashboard coming soon. Not seen it yet, but soon.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I like the app has actually been providing some value from what I mentioned. There's a few traders that I trade with that, like, they use the app and they're like, wow, like it's helped them to scan some pretty good tokens. So for what it's worth, the app is looking good.
Yeah, so they recently rolled out this auto rent refund feature, which is basically you pay no gas. So here it is up on the screen here. Gasless trading. Trade without ever needing solar gas. On average, the rewards grow 20 times faster. So as you can see here, the transactions. Okay. Rent refund. And the refund is Moby. Okay. All right. Let's read about it. Auto rent refund only on Moby Mobile. Solana rent adds up. Most wallets leave it locked unless you manually recover it. Okay, for those who don't know what rent is, every time you buy a token, you have to like deposit a bit of rent. Most people don't even know this. which is why there are apps out there to go and like remove all the rent. You can actually recover it. So you probably don't even know you do this, but you actually probably have some free Solana you can claim if you go and like recover it. But that being said, auto rent refund only on Mobi Mobile. Solana rent adds up. Most wallets leave it locked unless you manually recover it. Mobi doesn't. With auto rent refund, we automatically recover rent after you close a trade and return most of it to you as rewards, turning what's normally lost and forgotten into real value for users, generating revenue for traders by recovering rent, fully automatic, no third-party tools, only wallets with this feature already recoup thousands of dollars for users. This is what optimizing the trading stack actually looks like. And you just saw the video there. So this is getting a lot of buzz, and this should be the standard, to be honest. Like I said, for those that don't know, when you actually trade any token on Solana, you guys are doing this. There is rent that goes towards it, and it just kind of sits there, and you can go and like redeem it. There are different sites to do it. You can do it all massively at once, but Mobi's doing this automatically for you via the trading terminal, which is a nice touch. So most wallets trade, pay gas, lock rent, and move on. In Mobi, you trade, you pay $0 in gas, your rent is automatically recovered, and you earn rewards. The difference compounds fast. Net positive trading is the future. That's awesome. That's what you want, man. Code MCG in Mobi /
Looking
MCG.
good. Looking good. I know you had, I think you had another.
I got
another
a couple things I can speed run real quick. Also, real quick. Yeah, King's Mentality said, any news on Dupe or Viva? Not much. Not much. I haven't heard anything from Dupe. I can say from like personal conversations for Viva. They're working. It's a big company. Like this is a big company that controls that does a lot of things. And they have to go through regulations. It's not always a fast process. And I think I would just say, bear with that time frame. Like keep that time frame in mind when you're investing in Viva. But yeah, I mean, they're working, they're grinding from what I've heard, but we need to see some more on Twitter, in my opinion.
We're also holders of Viva.
Yeah, also still holding. Nothing's changed there. As for Dupe, I've seen Bobby talking recently about the points program that they have. I think someone from Visa covered it recently, and he was like, "Yo, we were on that before." So, but no real updates as far as I'm aware. That being said, ICM.run has officially finalized their staking contract audit. So, TLDR is Zenith basically went through and audited them. This was recommended from the Meteor team as a good auditor. So this is basically legit. Their staking protocol should have been, has been audited now and should be safe and secure to use moving forward. So that's a good thing. But just a very quick update I felt like sharing. Hopefully that goes live soon. Basically giving direct returns to users, making them liquid, as they've tried to say. So if you guys have ICM.run, maybe you can go and stake it, and they'll streamline Solana to you from some of the products built on top of their tech stacks that they're building out. So there's that. Next up, on the topic of ownership, STAR is becoming a market-governed ownership token. The Treasury and protocol IP will move under Combinator Trades, which is a Futarki-powered protocol, placing ownership and control directly in the hands of our token holders. A new STAR token will be airdropped to current holders on January 12th at 6 p.m. UTC based on a snapshot taken prior to migration. Portfolio values will remain consistent post-migration. As part of this transition, we're increasing circulating supply from the current 30% to 70%. As a result, FTV will decrease while current market cap remains unchanged. Existing holders will not be diluted. So twice they've now said portfolio values will remain consistent and current existing holders will not be diluted. Although I'm unfamiliar with like kind of what this means. As part of the transition, we're increasing circulating supply from the current 30% to 70%. So are they burning the other 40%
That was my question.
in between?
That was my read. I mean, the math works where one of those three things has to change. And if the two don't change, the circulating supply and the market cap, then the third has to change, which means it was decreased.
Which they said that they have not done. Decreased, decreased your allocation. Yeah. So I would imagine that there's a 40% burn going on with some supply here. Please remove limit orders, reoccurring orders, market buys, and LP positions before the migration. Stakers will receive their full staked allocation more below. Okay, here's a thread. But I think we got the right read on that. We deeply believe in tokens that come with ownership rights. Up until this point, our token has been mostly speculative asset, and this high time to change that. Nice. They're in the right direction here. Our revenue, IP, and assets live entirely on chain. This makes a market-governed ownership model the most attractive choice, as participants can have full oversight and rights over on-chain value. It grants IP ownership to holders, and a Marshall Island DAO will be created with Futarchy governance over all IP. A monthly allowance of 30,000. That's pretty reasonable. Will be set to cover operating expenses. Large expenditures will need to be approved by the markets. We know this system. We've seen it before. A mintable token is necessary to have flexible for not so far away fundraisers. Okay, so the token will be mintable, as well as novel features that we'll be introducing very soon. We're doing this now rather than later, as things don't get drastically harder with more holders and higher market cap. We currently hold 70% of our token, which we earmarked through linear vesting contracts for various programs that are no longer relevant. To boost market trust, we're reducing supply overhang and only permitting team tokens, pre-minting team tokens. These team tokens will be placed under intentional, ambitious MCAP-based vesting contracts, which will be designed in collaboration with our holders over the course of the weeks to be finalized when migration is complete. So yeah, okay. So I guess the 70% of tokens, they're going to have vesting contracts, and it looks like the team tokens will be placed under intentional, ambitious market cap. So like we've seen 2x, 4x, 10x, 20x, 35x market cap.
That seems
growth.
to be the new thing. I read these as like marketing tokens or points and incentives that they had, which ultimately dilute yourself. Those are just, if you take $100 worth of incentives from token holders, then that's what it is. So, can you pull the star chart up? Just have a check in here.
Yeah, I got it up. I got it up. If you want to put my screen, it's nice. It hasn't really moved. So at the start, it hasn't like gone above where it's been since December. If you look at the chart, this is kind of what it's looked like over the entirety of its existence. We had this nice run up where Star got its name, but then
run up.
Yeah, and then it's just kind of been, honestly, we can even say this range has existed for like even since September. It hasn't really gotten above there. But I think around November, going into December is where Surf Cash and stuff like that. So that's why we saw some of these pumps. But I don't know.
Yeah, they need to have more consistent launches and revenues coming from fees and whatnot.
Yeah,
that's just too hard to like see kind of valuation here.
Guys, I gotta run. I forgot to schedule a meeting here at 3 p.m. So
yeah, no worries.
I'll leave it to you guys. Peace. Appreciate you guys tuning in today.
Yeah, I think honestly it's a good place to wrap here. I think not much going on in markets today. We touched on the movement on Bitcoin. We actually got that one spot on. It's hit the green box, hit kind of our targets right now. But not much happening on chain. I think really the only thing that I'm watching is this from what we talked about earlier, and it's actually up from where we were. But other than that, like not really like a lot happening on chain as far as like new launches and stuff like that. I think right now the market is in a place where we don't know what to buy, and so this is an environment that's bullish for meme coins, which is why paying attention to stuff like this, which is why I'm paying attention to stuff like this. But other than the obvious quote unquote utility, but more so ownership coins like Solo, Avicii, Umbra, CPT. Outside of that, like there's not really much to buy, much launches that people are really excited about. Even with Ranger Finance, I think it's a great protocol, but I haven't even seen a ton of buzz around their name, going into their raise. And I think ultimately that's because outside of ownership coins, which isn't even widely recognized, I think the market just doesn't know what to buy. And so, degens will ultimately degen, and they'll continue to gamble on things, whether they have intrinsic value or not.
Yeah, I think pull up AOL from yesterday. we'll double tap on this. If you didn't watch our stream yesterday, they said
yes,
in a
AOL is
few
another one.
days, they said in a few days they are having either new launches or AOL V2. So I think you got to have this on a watch list. The confluence is here, USD1, World Liberty Fi, potential political launches, potential other launches in a few days, AOL V2, other products that are developing. It was just like, I don't know if, a lot of vibes there. Meteora involved heavily here. So
speaking of AOL, you're absolutely right. I definitely think we should keep AOL on a watch list. We were really excited. For anybody who wasn't watching the stream yesterday, we were so excited about like after that interview took place. Like our mind was like really blown, and for good reason. But notice what Grok says here. Hey Grok, edit this image with the maximum price AOL will reach in 2026. And wouldn't you know, Grok is bullish. The price right now is 0.008, and Grok has this thing going to 50 cents. So yeah, we're under a penny. Grok is bullish. I'm bullish as well on AOL. I really think
who tweeted that? Who's that Jack Char dude? Can you double click?
No idea. No idea. I don't think it's anyone. It's just a tweet. Yeah, just a tweet.
I always like to see how many followers people have, and if they're, because one of their other advisors was someone that was well known in the industry, and I think he said actually worked at AOL back in the day. I can't remember if that was
true, he said that. He said they spoke with AOL early stage. So there's not going to be like a Wells notice or anything, or a cease and desist, or any type of like conflict with the branding. And that's because they've been in talks with AOL, the actual company. Yeah. Yeah. So and going back to what I was saying just before we mentioned AOL is definitely something that should be on the list for you guys, because I feel like it's a much the focus with them is much more on investor, or at least degen safety. The way he phrased it yesterday was like, hey, we all want to play the game, but we still want to be safe about it. We still want to have some sort of like safeguards in place. And if you look at this video here, this video is exactly going back to what I was just saying earlier. Pump Fund has just, created this problem in crypto where, there's a lot of worthless tokens. And not only Pump Fund, but now, with how things shaked out with Believe, with, even tokens that are, and if you want to share my screen, Josh, whenever you get a moment, with those who actually like have good intentions, like the tokens don't really perform. And that's because I think that the market doesn't know what to buy. Their ownership, we know what to buy. We know that ownership is the future, but the market doesn't know that. And Thread Guy here, he puts it really well. Listen to this. It's only 20 seconds long.
Everybody is still convinced that we need to onboard new people to buy our trash. The actual take is we need more good coins for the people that are already here to buy. Okay. We don't have a marketing problem. We don't have a narrative problem. We don't have a liquidity problem. We have a good coins problem. That's it. There's a good coins problem.
Yep. That's it. We have a good coins problem. Shout out to Mickley from Counterparty as well for clipping this up and putting this out there. But yeah, look, I think, crypto, we just right now, the market doesn't know what to buy. And so that's why for me, like I'm looking at things like USD1. You've seen me, if you watch my timeline, you've seen that I've been involved in some meme coin trades, and those have been running really well. FKH did us really well. That went from 3 mil to 20. That was a nice little catch. We bidded Kermit, under 3 mil. That went like 200%. That was a 200% trade. And now we're in the Soul trade, right, that we just talked about just a moment ago. And even that's already up pretty decently from my personal buys at around 3 mil. So I think and I think, AOL, this America.fun, I think is coming in to kind of help us solve this problem of not having great coins. But I think in the meantime, while the market catches up to ownership, while they catch up to, fixing this, this not good coin or no good coin problem, as they catch up to fixing that, the solution's already out there. But in the meantime, I think the trades will be elsewhere, which is why I'm looking at USD1 memes and things of that nature for the time being. And I'm not buying anything. I'm not hardcore trenching, but if I see something that, pops, gets a pullback and is looking good on the chart and, has a good shot at gaining mind share, I think that's a good setup. And that's what I'm going to buy. But otherwise, I just don't think the market has enough confidence. I've been watching utility tokens over these last several weeks. They're not going anywhere, bro. Like even if the teams have great intentions, they're not looking to rug. Like they'll go from sub 50K market cap to maybe like 800K, maybe a million, and then that's it. That's all they have. And even the good coins don't hold gains. So we're now seeing a shift, with like stuff like repo and things of that nature. That was another good trade. I think repo was my only good utility trade of the year so far. And again, not many great ones to take. And I think, the market is still needs time to catch up. When it does catch up, that's when our bags, actually start pumping, when people catch on to things like Soars, things like MetaDAO. The market kind of is aware, but they're still asleep at the wheel. They're still asleep at the wheel, in my opinion. So yeah, that's but other than that, but I think that's a good place to kind of close it down. Keep AOL on your watch list, guys. And I don't know, Josh, if you have anything else, but I can hit the schedule for the week.
Yeah, let's wrap it.
Cool. Let me go and pull up the schedule for the week, guys. So we got a nice schedule here for the rest of the week. And as soon as I get it, I'll actually throw it up on screen. And I am almost there. Do we have it in highlights by any chance?
It should be in there. It should be
in there.
Yeah.
Let me see here, guys. Bear with us. Bear with us here. All right, highlights. Let's see. And here is the weekly schedule. Boom. All right. So great week so far. We had America.fun yesterday. We just talked about them. Huge USD1 aligned project. And I think them and their ecosystem we should be paying attention to, by the way. They mentioned yesterday, and they haven't mentioned this anywhere else, that launches are coming, features are coming. So something to keep on your watch list as we go into the rest of this week and the rest of January. Today, we had CPT on. Great updates. If you remember earlier from the stream, they actually introduced the S drone live on MCG today, and that was huge. Basically, a drone that can power. Not a drone. It is a technology that can power drones autonomously and make them continuously airborne. So
For 6 days.
For 6 days. So looking good on CPT. We'll have Roman from CPT coming on Thursday. So we'll cover the kind of the tech side of things here in a couple days. Tomorrow, we also had Tessera on today as well. Great interview, kind of opening up private markets to retail, opening them up to on-chain participants. So really huge what they're doing over there as well. Tomorrow we have Avo coming on. So we'll have Paperhead back on the show for some updates. We've been covering them since launch. So friends of the show. Thursday, like I mentioned, we have Roman coming on from CPT to discuss some of the more engineering aspects of the new release, the S drone. And then Friday we have Perina come on.
And I actually have a schedule update that I will post that will supersede this one, because we've had a couple book, but I wanted to get past past this current stream today to post it. So I will do that because it affects Wednesday onward. So
Yeah.
I'll do a
So
new one.
tomorrow we have like the Orogo, the Oro
Oro
Gold,
gold. Yeah.
the Oro
Orogo.
Gold, Orogo. I was like, wait a second. Or the Oro Gold team will have them on tomorrow at 12:30. So them in addition to Avo as well. So we'll get up we'll get a schedule update out. So you want to follow the MCG main account at MCG Live. Follow us on everything. Follow us on YouTube. If you hit the link tree in our bio, follow our YouTube, follow our Chinese account, shout out them, trade with us on Mobi, follow us on TikTok as well as Spotify and YouTube.
Yes,
we have a
please
lot
go
coming for you
subscribe
guys.
to YouTube. Please, please, please. We have 500 subscribers now, and I think we hit something like 60,000 views. A brand new account, obviously. We want the YouTube algorithm to do its thing so that the general public, the normies out there, can find the ICM and ownership token bags that we all own. So please, please, please subscribe to our YouTube.
So there you go. There you go. So we got a big week coming. Hope to see you guys there tomorrow and the rest of the week. The boys will be holding it down. Follow me if you want. I won't be on stream here the rest of the week. I'll be actually taking a trip touring Asia over these next couple of weeks. So I'll be active on the timeline though. This is not the time to hit the brakes. It's time to hit the gas and go crazy. So I'll be still active on the
eating that
timeline.
cow soy.
Yeah, for real. I'm trying everything, bro. I'm trying everything.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so hit me on the timeline if you want to interact with me. I'll be live. I'll be still contributing to MCG as well. I'll be in the comments. I'll be pushing. So I'll see you guys around. Hope you guys enjoy the day. Thank you guys for showing up today, and much love and stay safe. We will see y'all on the next one.
You say it? Deuces.
Say what? Deuces.